y'all make sure y'all share this video and make sure y'all subscribe to all Viral Access Media. You know the vibes.
They thought we forgot, but we never forget. This one's for the rules. We built this land from dust and tears, 400 years, and we still here. They write new rules, but they don't see. Every freedom they got came off you and me. We planted seeds, they took the bloom. We lit the flame, they left the room. But we back now, know the sky. The spirit's woke, we realize all we want is what we earn. That sweat and blood, yeah, that table turn. You can't buy culture, can't fake that fight. This is our day, this is our ride. We FBA. Say it loud, say it strong. We the heartbeat that's been here all along. Foundational Black Americans, stand tall. We ain't begging for nothing, we built that all. Born from pain and grace, you can see the truth written in our face. We the soul, the sound, to fight the flame. Foundational Black Americans, say our name. They love our rhythm, but they dodge our blues. Use our voice when it fits their news. They take our sound, but not our scars. We the backbone, we the scars. Now the veil is gone, the mask is clear. We see the game, we know what's here. No more silence, no more lies. We lift that flag and watch it rise. Rise up. We the ones that made this nation breathe. Our pain turned to power. Our roots are trees. We know world. It's rhythm and grace now, and now we reclaiming our rightful place. Can't copy courage, can't steal pain. You can't inherit soul by changing names. Our story ain't done, it's the revival. We guard the gate, it's about survival. We FBA, say it proud, say it loud. The world dances on what we vow. Foundational Black Americans, still we stand, still we fight, still we demand. Every block, every song, we've been right here all along. The soul of a people strong and free. Foundational Black Americans. We the first, we the rule, we the fire. Still rising, still here. Foundational Black
Brooklyn Bridge temperature's cool, but the convo's warm. You're tuned in to Thorough Black Talk Worldview.
The voice of New York City's black media, the heartbeat of the people.
History, news, current events, politics.
Stay up.
Good evening, family. We got to talk about this because the same crime gets two completely different headlines in America. When it's foundational Black Americans, it's ghetto or dangerous. But when it's others, it's economic hardship and mental health. Same problem, but somehow only one groups get labeled. Excuse me. So tonight we gonna break it down. Tell somebody to tell somebody it's going down right here on the Brooklyn Bridge. And while the team get ready, I want you to get ready. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister K Fighter, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, Brother Blacksmith, along with Sister Brooke, and Brother Divine, the U.S. Freedmen Project President, will be joining us later. We got a lot to discuss. Man, last week we had fun exposing all the fraud. I mean, we ain't have enough time to get through all the fraud. It's so much. So we're going to pick it back up again next week. But, you know, as the summer months begin, as the weather change, more people are coming outside. And as more people coming outside, you know, a lot of things can happen. I want to give a special shout out before I get started. Sister Joyce and Brother Monty, again, my condolences to you and your family. That's our Suffolk County crew family. So send your condolences when and if you can. Let me give some shout outs real quick. Sister Aruba 927, Doggy Diamond TV, Mars in the building. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Glad you rocking out with us. She be sending me some good stuff too. I love it. The Mars be sending me good stuff, man. They be sending me good stuff. Shout out to M. Hampton 8358. Good evening to you. Good evening. Good evening, Suffolk County crew. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Hello, hello, K Mac 4627. What's good? What's good? What's good? Our brother Rich, nice. Back at it like crack addicts. You already know, bro. It's going down tonight. Speaking of crack addicts, we're going to show some footage tonight because I want everybody to see how crime plays out in our community and other communities because, you know, oftentimes people ask, you know, how is it that Pan-Africanism was able to grow so rapidly during the 70s, 80s, and 90s, early 2000s? And it's because of the image that the media in this country put on our people. So we're going to go through a lot of footage tonight. So I hope you're ready for that. What up, Bonner? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Love you too. Thank you for joining us. Aunt Marie, Uncle Jess in the building. What's happening, PZ? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Sending all love, all love, all love. Yes, yes, yes. It's going down, sis. It's going down. Arnold and Connie, what it is, what it is, what it is. It's going down. B1. B1, I am a mirror. That's right. You looking at me, I'm looking at you. You got to stay on top. On top. Yeah? On top. Delineation is happening. For real. Sister Farnessa on the check-in. Y'all know it was a mass shooting that took place today in Louisiana. Sister Farnessa sent me that early today. I believe 10 people were hurt during the shooting so far since I last read. I don't know if more casualties were announced, but I didn't get a chance to check it. But we'll tap into that a little bit later. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Ray L, what's happening? What's happening? How sweet it is. Reparations is in session. They better give us our money. They better give this. Listen, the United States is on the cusp of some serious things. I mean, the fraud is being exposed. In the midst of another war. Congress is at odds. All of this is happening because you won't pay your original debt. And until that happens, remember Celie in The Color Purple? Until you do right by me, goddammit, all hell is coming your way. For real, for real, for real. Yes, indeed. Uncle Jess, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Yes, thank y'all. Thank y'all for all of those well wishes to Sister Joyce and Brother Monty. What's that? A law solution. What's good? What's good? What's good? Let's get into it. Buckle up. Buckle up. Buckle up, Aaron. Buckle up. It's about to get heavy. It's about to get heavy. I'm going to let the crew get ready behind the scenes. But while the crew is getting ready, I'm going to play some history clips. Sorry for the noise if y'all hear that. Ambulance is going by. Our brother Melrose. Y'all show Melrose some love. Y'all show Melrose some love. Melrose is putting belt to ass to everybody. On the streets, National Action Network, it don't matter. D12, he putting foot to ass on everybody. So give my brother Melrose a follow and show him some love. That's funny, Sister Ruba. They better cut our checks. They heard Melrose. They heard him. They heard him. They know what time it is. Black Rose. Not one Democrat is advocating for reparations for FBA. Not one Democrat is advocating for anti-Black hate crime bill for FBA. Stop voting blue. Absolutely. I've been done with that. I've been before Clinton. I've been trying to tell people before Clinton, stay out of there. These people are wicked. Because once you understand the history of these parties, you have to be a mumbling idiot to continue to engage in a criminal operation. They are both wings of the same bird, a criminal operation. That's why they can go in broke. You can vote in a congressman or woman or a senator, and they go in broke and come out millionaires. Nobody got more money than Nancy Pelosi while in office. Where'd she get that bread from? Where'd she get that bread from? You see what I'm saying? So it's a criminal operation. So I don't rock with it. I don't rock with it unless there's some tangibles for us. Till then, have at it. Have at it. You know, and you can see right now, especially with all these sanctuary cities, it's a total shit show. It's a total shit show. You know, so you got to put it in your mind that we're done with this. Yes, indeed, our brother Melrose is definitely the truth. So make sure y'all give him a follow. My brother Tad is out in Atlanta. You know, he mentioned that to y'all. If you listen to OG Wisdom Podcast on Sunday, you know, getting that business right. You got to get that business right. So when he come back with deets, and you know, he shared the deets with me, and then it helps us as well. So, Brother Blacksmith, are you ready? All right. Welcome to BX to the BK. Brother Blacksmith, what's happening?
Good evening, world. Good evening, world. Wherever you may be, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Brother Blacksmith. I'm back in the pocket. My sister Keisha, K Fighter, on Thorough Black Talk, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We in this, please. Peace, sister. How are you today? Hello? You on mute, sis.
It's been a very busy day, as usual, but I made it here on time. Maybe 1 or 2 minutes late, but I made it on time. I want to start the show off with some history facts because some people still ask, what have you done for me lately? Now, brothers, if you meet a young lady, she never had a menstrual cycle, you're dealing with a young man. So you might want to check some things. Hold on, let's give some history to our FBA legacy elder right here. You could definitely cop her book on her Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok pages. So hold on, family. Here we go.
Pad was invented by a Black woman. She created it because women needed a more comfortable and secure way to manage their periods without leaks and constant discomfort. Her original design, the sanitary belt, was a foundation for what eventually evolved into pads that we see in brands like Always today. And for anyone who doesn't know, a sanitary belt was a wearable device that held the absorbent pads in place before the adhesive pads existed. Basically, she started the whole thing. Her name was Mary B. Davidson Kenner. Share this with your girl group chat. They need to know this. I
hope you all can understand why history is so important, because people will claim your legacy in a minute. And we're seeing that played out right before us to this very day. From high advanced technology to smaller things. Foundational Black Americans have been in the forefront of a lot. And it just behooves me that when other groups come to this country, they look their nose down at foundational Black Americans when, you know, some of the modern conveniences that they use today, we created. Let me play one more and then we'll get right into the topic.
Food trays, keeping food warm took a lot of effort. This made serving food slow. That changed when a foundational Black American woman invented a machine that keeps food warm using steam. She was also one of the first Black women to receive a U.S. patent. Her name was Mary Jones. If you learn something new, share it with a friend, because the impact of foundational Black Americans is everywhere.
So, just some historical facts for you in the modern conveniences that we have. Oftentimes, people take those things for granted without giving recognition. I hope and I pray that all of y'all are sitting in the room with some lights on. I hope and I pray that all of you are sitting in a space where if you have to use the bathroom, a toilet bowl is nearby. So even when I thought about, when you remember, the Alabama brawl, y'all remember that when the hat flew up, chair started swinging, you know, even the folding chair, we invented that too. And you know, how ironic that they will pick that up and start swinging, boy. I tell you, the ancestors move, it's a powerful thing. Shout out to Sister Pat on the check-in. What's good, what's good, what's good? Yes, we have a very rich history, a very, very rich history, and it must be commended, especially in a time where you have still, in 2026, Black men and women being beaten to a bloody pulp by members of law enforcement who are of the immigrant class. You see, sometimes people say, well, y'all say immigrants, you're only talking about the brown ones. You know, all of them. Asian, don't matter, all of them are a problem with us, for us. And I would implore you, as I said many times before, read the book Back of the Hiring Line by Roy Beck, and then come back and tell me what you think. Read The Invisible Coup by Peter Schweitzer, and then come back and tell me what you think. Let's have a conversation about it. Okay, that's just a couple of books that I can give to you, and I recommend those because they are also on audiobook. One of them actually free on YouTube. And you can listen while you're cleaning or whatever. But anyway, let's get into it. The topic tonight is media and how we are played in media.
Same crime, different headlines. Why the double standard?
What's your thoughts, Brother Black? Why the double standard when you see the same crime, different headlines?
Oh, because of a system based on economics called racism. I mean, it's I believe Brother Divine, if I'm not mistaken, last week said that before the 1900s, 90% of all inmates were Caucasians. And maybe after World War II, when they started shipping all of them across the seas and so on and so forth, it started becoming blacks, especially with the black codes, redlining, and, you know, the ghettoization of America, so on and so forth. And then, you know, a lot of blacks roaming without jobs and, you know, vagrancy laws. So, I mean, it's just part and parcel. In order for the system to operate, all the moving parts have to operate together symbiotically. So there's your answer.
But we're the ones who catch all the hell.
Yes, ma'am.
And no matter who commits the crime, for example, in New York City, a 15-year-old boy was unalived by another teenager. This 15-year-old boy who was a victim of a homicide in New York come from an immigrant background, and so did the perpetrator. The parents, one of them tried to get him out of the country back to their native land. But again, when the crime is reported, it's stuck in a category of black on black crime in black neighborhoods. And that's not the case. Because when you and I both know, when people come to this country, they identify with their native land. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And are very proud when things go good. But when things go awry, ain't nobody claiming that legacy no more. Just throw it in the black category. And so when you do that, you inflate numbers that should not be, right? Also, when you hear people report crime that are going on in different communities, is looked at as an economic problem or a mental health problem, or maybe a one-up. Now, I don't know if y'all ever watch the channel Investigative Discovery. If you ever watch that channel, that's a channel dedicated to white-on-white crime. You may get a sprinkle of black folks in there every now and again, but that channel is dedicated to white-on-white crime. However, when a crime happens in other communities, it's not labeled ghetto or degenerative. And that's, is disingenuous. So I want to play a clip, but we're going back. It's Throwback Thursday. We're going to throw it back. All right? The Triad Gang. Now, I know Brother Black have heard of the Triad Gang, right? They do it to themselves. But there's never any gun buyback programs, any labeling of degeneracy in these communities. So let's play this clip going back to 1992. We'll come right back and we'll discuss. Hold on.
A common perception in America is that organized crime begins and ends with the mafia and such mobsters as John Gotti. But as the social makeup of our country changes, so do the people who prey on their communities for profit. Now, Asian American gangs are staking out their claim, as Ron Allen reports in tonight's Eye on America.
Let me pause real quick. He said they prey on their community. So why this ain't no Asian on Asian hate crimes? I mean, why they not labeled that way? Why are they still looked at as a model citizen? I want you to remember that as you continue to watch. Hold on.
Chinatown, New York, filled with shoppers, merchants, and filled with fear. A store shut tight, the scene of a murder. More evidence of the violence and menace just below the surface. This young mother and widow, Ying Jing Gan, saw her husband shot to death at that store. Sin Van Ta was a merchant who did something rare. He said no to the Asian gangsters who rob and extort 80% of the businesses here.
He was the person with sense of justice. He worked very hard and he did everything according to the law.
Last year on a street in New York's Chinatown, the police asked Mr. Ta to ID the Vietnamese gang members who were terrorizing his store. Mr. Ta was murdered 2 weeks after he fingered David Tai, a leader of the Born to Kill gang.
I heard a gunshot. The gunshot was so close. I just turned my head and I saw my husband fell down.
Gan is suing New York City for $5 million for not protecting her husband.
Law enforcement do not realize how much risk this individual had taken.
The case, says author Peter Kwong, shook Chinatown and represents everything wrong with relations between the police and the Asian community.
We see the community are being victimized, and yet can convince the outside world to understand, to appreciate their problems.
Because, Kwong says, like this typical jewelry store robbery, it's Asian on Asian crime, and few outside the community seem to care. But this explosion last year got a lot of people's attention. For the first time, a Vietnamese gang stepped over a racial line. Members killed 3 and wounded 11 non-Asians after taking them hostage in a Sacramento, California appliance store. And there's more.
Good evening, Mr. Gotti.
As well-known mob bosses like John Gotti fall, less familiar faces like Peter Chong, a reputed West Coast crime boss, take their place, signaling a profound change in the American crime scene.
As we succeed in destroying the traditional types of organized crime, we don't want new groups to move into the vacuum and present the same kind of a threat for the future.
But many cops say the future is here. Chinese crime groups called triads have taken control of the U.S. heroin trade. Another worry for everyone. Triads are huge, centuries-old international crime groups based mainly in Hong Kong. Hong Kong police are at war with the triads, fighting them on TV.
Avoid contact with triads. It's not worth it.
And in the streets. U.S. authorities fear many triads will move criminal operations here before Communist China takes control of Hong Kong in 1997.
Everybody has been telling us, beware of 97. Well, it's too late. They're already here.
Police say one triad run by Peter Chong has already taken control of San Francisco's Asian underworld after winning a bloody war that has left 5 dead. It is the first Chinese triad to consolidate power in an American city. And cops like Ignatius Chin believe Chinese Americans are especially vulnerable.
A lot of these people feel like the laws that law enforcement like I enforce really aren't for them, belong to the white people's world.
Which brings us back to Ying Jing Gan. She wanted to trust the white man's world.
I came to the United States. It's like a dream. I thought the United States was a paradise.
A paradise turned into a nightmare by David Tai, the born-to-kill gang leader. He and members of his gang were recently convicted of her husband's murder. Some say justice was done and that the streets are safer. But for how long? In New York, this is Ron Allen for Eye on America.
So as you see, bloody crime that took place, and it still takes place to this very day. But their neighborhoods are not labeled as ghetto or degeneracy. And when other immigrants come to the U.S., they don't label them either. They don't label them either. In Chinatown, in New York, and I can speak for New York because I live here. They have what you call underground fight clubs. Tunnels in Chinatown. If you have never seen one, you really missed out on some things. You really missed out on some things. Let me see if everybody else is ready. Marcia, you ready? Welcome to the Brooklyn Bridge. Marcia, Africans on the Rise. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Peace. Happy Blacktastic Thursday. Good to be back with everyone. Sister Keisha, Brother Black, how's everything going? Chat room, how y'all doing? Everybody you'll see on a rerun, how y'all will be doing?
Peace, sister.
Peace.
Good, sis. I hope you were able to hear the clip behind the scenes. Because I was saying that, in Black American neighborhoods, and I hear people talk about it all the time from different ethnic groups, whether they're Caucasian, Asian, brown or black, however way you want to identify, say the same thing. And it's very disingenuous that they would say that when crime takes place in the neighborhoods in which we reside, they label them as ghetto or degenerative, black on black crime, where the fathers at, and all this old kind of bull s, but crime takes place everywhere. So tonight I'm focusing not just on crime, because I want everybody to understand how the image of degeneracy was forced on us. As I go through these videos, this is going to fall back into videos of things that took place where we reside. What are some of your thoughts as to, why they don't have gun buyback programs, in these Asian neighborhoods? But at the same time, they have a hate crime bill. So what are your thoughts on that?
We spoke about this whole gun buyback program sponsored by most of the churches in Black neighborhoods quite some time ago. And it is quite peculiar to me that it's always our neighborhood that they target with a gun buyback program and never anywhere else. And it's marketed publicly, like this church is having this program, this, and this, that. And if you could single it on local TV stations that this is happening in this community, then you should be able to signal it also in these other communities. I can't understand why it is that they single our people out in general, just straight Black people in general, but they do that. And it's sort of a way to say that you're too irresponsible to deal with this level of safety for your community while they can. They're protecting their community. And I don't get it. And this is why I am an advocate of training our children on how to use weaponry responsibly, having them take specific courses and stuff like that. Because yes, you could gather anything, however you could gather it. It's a free-for-all out there. But if we could train a lot more of our children, I think a lot of children would be a little bit more responsible. And they don't ask for responsibility by other communities. And I wonder if it's a case that they would rather the other communities come in, or there'll be an opportunity for them to come into communities that are predominantly Black for the attacks, right? And you can't do nothing. But for right now, they're just hitting each other up and they're irresponsible. They're degenerates and all of that. I don't appreciate that at all. Our children deserve more than this.
Let me just address the comment. Somebody named Liberty Twitcher, I think, who says it's not disingenuous to acknowledge the fact that Black juveniles are shot at 100 times the rate of white juveniles. Well, I'm of a particular age, and during the 90s, in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, there was a murder every day. And Bensonhurst, Brooklyn is changed now, predominantly Italian, controlled by the Italian mob. And there was a murder every day in that community. In Howard Beach, there was a murder every other day. That is just a fact, and I'll play the videos later for your purpose. If you look at federal numbers say, and that's the FBI, say that white people kill more than anybody. If you look at the white population as a whole, there has never been a time, at least in the last 200 years, that white people have not been at war with each other. You tell me a time when they haven't been at war. I'll wait. So let's continue as we go through the Asian community. of some of the things that they say. Not that I say, or the panel says. And also, before we play this clip, why is it that other immigrants come to this country and label the same way that other groups do when they come here? And I'm talking about brown immigrants. Whether you're from the Caribbean, South America, or the continent of Africa, pick up the same talking points and move into communities or neighborhoods that oftentimes, and we're on Throwback Thursday, so I'm going to keep it in that perspective of the 80s and 90s, murdering each other left, right, and center, but continuously refer to us as ghetto or degenerative. I would like somebody to tell me that. Why does that happen?
Yeah, can I chime in on that one?
Go ahead.
Remember when, Sister Keisha, I'm sure you can relate to this, living in Brooklyn, living in New York City as a whole, when the Jamaicans came over en masse, a lot of them at one time. And they had the showers and the, don't tell me the other name, showers. It was two posses that they had that were coming up here that were dealing drugs in Jamaica. And then they came to New York and they started getting into it with the FBAs and over turf. And then the Showers and the Spanglers posse. And the movie that Van Damme was, I don't remember the name of it right now. It wasn't a great movie anyway, where they had Jamaicans cosplaying, African Americans cosplaying as Jamaicans. And I don't remember the name of the movie. But the point I'm making is that those situations were set up by this government to have us fighting each other. And like you said again, it didn't matter who was fighting who at the time. If they were black and they had an English sounding name and all this and that, you wouldn't know that it's Jamaicans fighting African Americans or even other non-FBA members that were already here, but are probably down with African Americans. So the agenda basically is to keep us as a permanent underclass. And with that, I'm done. Yeah.
Here's my thing. You're coming to a country and you move into the neighborhoods close to us or within the neighborhoods we live in. To me, that's disingenuous. And it's also disingenuous to say we don't know the difference. We clearly knew the difference. I don't care how you try to fix the accent, whatever. We clearly knew the difference. So, that's like saying, we don't know who we're dealing with. We very much well knew who we were dealing with.
I was referring to the general public. I wasn't referring to us here on the panel.
Okay. No. We in the general, Black Americans, we know who we are. I don't want that to go out into the universe that we can't tell the difference. We tell the difference all the time. We tell the difference all the time. So my thing is that when others come and live amongst us, because you can't go to where they are, right? You come and move with us. Even if you can't speak the language, the Asians come up and set up business in the neighborhoods in which we reside, right? You knew enough to open that business there, right? So, to me, to blame it on a government side, listen, that means everybody who came over here is a goddamn idiot. Everybody. That's pretty much saying everybody's a goddamn idiot. Because you came for a better life in a better way. No matter if you're Caucasian, you be Irish, Italian, Russian, German, Caribbean, South, it don't matter. You came here for a better way. So when you came here, you started picking up talking points that the dominant society was using. Even though you live amongst us, even though you know you got criminals within your family, criminals that you live next door to, but you still use those talking points. And I say that because you and I both know that immigrants came to this country and their parents said, stay away from them Black Americans. We're good enough to live amongst, but then you want us to stay away, want the children to stay away. That's contradictory in nature. That don't even make sense. But before I get into it, I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to bring in Sister Brooke and Brother Tat. Okay, hold on, family. Here we go.
It's funny though, we only banged on other people that look like us though.
That's true.
I remember I had a homie from 18th Street. He'd be telling me, oh man, those fools from fucking Lomas got us again. And I'd be telling him like some of the stuff that we just ran into. And it's Latino guy talking about the Latino problems, Asians talking about Asian problems, when you would think it would be Asian and Latinos going like this. But it's just we're only banging on our own types of people. It's so weird, huh?
I guess one of the strangest ironic thing was like, oh wow, a lot of these Asian gangs were robbing Asian families.
Yeah, because it started off as protection. It's supposed to be self-defense, but then you end up like
they're hurting their own community, really.
Yeah, like all of the people that they targeted were Asians. They didn't break into white people's homes because a lot of the times they call the police and they follow up on their crimes. Also, they're armed. So a lot of people are like, don't break into white people's homes. They got guns.
At that age, too, I also thought all white people were cops, too.
You have profiles, right? Because he goes, okay, white people are risky because they all call the cops no matter what. Asians don't call the cops. Black people don't got money. So you break into their home, they don't have money anyway. Mexicans have too many dogs that'll fucking bite you. There's like 15 people in the house. There's never anyone that's not home.
Yeah, it's not going to be home alone, yeah.
Asian gangs targeted Asians all fucking day.
I think a rapper said it in a song. You got to rob Asians because they keep cash in their house. But it's true.
You find a house and scope it out. Find a Chinese neighborhood. They don't believe in bank accounts.
There you have it. They said it themselves. They said it themselves. But their communities or neighborhoods are not labeled as ghetto or degenerative. Nobody asking where their fathers is at. That's what I'm saying. It's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of BS. Crime happening amongst the people you live around. That's just the way it is. Let me get my brother Tad up on the Brooklyn Bridge. And Sister Brooke, you ready?
Sis, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, brother. Loud and clear.
Peace, family. I don't know what happened, sis, but I can't hear you now.
Oh, man. I'm going to bring you back out.
Hold on 1 second.
All right. I'm going to bring you out, and then you let me know.
Give me a second to pull me back in, because I can't hear anything right now.
Okay. Sister Brooke, how are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm just listening to this interesting conversation that I'm walking in on. Man, listen, this is why I hate, and growing up in East Flatbush, being the only American most of the time in the room or in the conversation, I heard so many times that Black people don't stick together like the small hats. Black people don't stick together like the Asians. And I would constantly have to challenge these stereotypes that just aren't true. That we're doing, something completely different. People who say things like that are people who don't live around these groups. If you don't live around small hats, you don't know about Dutch Schultz and the Uwish gangs that there used to be. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that they used to have gangs, right? And bang on each other right now. The ones that wear all the outfits against the ones that don't. They still be arguing, okay? And then they say things like, well, the Asians, they don't get into politics. Have you seen Flushing? Have you seen Chinatown? Who do you think are the representatives over there? It's a bunch of Asians. Did you see who just tried to run for mayor? Andrew Yang. I had to shut that down. So when people say things like that, you're just showing how ignorant you are. Because you come from a community where I guess where you don't understand what the politics here is. Just like I don't understand what the politics there is. Look, ain't none of my goddamn business. But don't come here telling me what we don't do. I'll land there.
You know, sis, because you know I'm in a peace, family, peace to everybody in the chat.
Yes, I didn't say hi either.
Hey, brother Tad. Hey, brother Tad.
Black.
You like you on that spaceship on the roof. Your face is gleaming red.
Yeah, man, messing with these Bronx people. Sister Keisha, I'm glad you played these clips. I remember 1992. I remember the Asian gangs. I remember all of this stuff so vividly. And to the question, why is it that we the only ones with buyback programs? People got to understand that we were people that was displaced, and the dominant society understood our thinking process. They knew if we were armed, we would definitely be a threat. Their fears were we would do to them what they've done to us. So they decided to criminalize everything we do, whether we organize or whatever. So even in the topic of black on black crime or Asian crime, white on white crime, most criminals always prey on people who are in their close proximity because they're familiar with the surroundings. One of the books I always encourage people to read is a book by Dr. Khalil Gibran Muhammad. That's Elijah Muhammad's great grandson. He also ran the Schomburg for a little while. But it's called, the name of the book is The Condemnation of Blackness. And it deals with how at every turn we were criminalized for whatever we do. Like even after our emancipation, they created black codes. And after black codes, they created Jim Crow laws. And then everywhere, then they had the the quality of life laws. Even when you look at right now, what happened yesterday at 212 Jefferson, black people are losing their homes in Bed-Stuy and Harlem. They always finding a way to criminalize us and justify their mistreatment of us because they know who we are. But they use the media as a propaganda machine to promote criminal behaviors. As we talk about the young boy who lost his life in Roy Wilkins Park, you know, and it's unfortunate. And I'm glad you brought that up, Sister Keisha. People are from other backgrounds, but whenever it's something negative, they just blanket statement it as black. They never just say, well, this particular group here, this particular group there. They just want to lump all the badness as black. But when somebody do something great, oh, the first Jamaican American, the first Trinidadian American, you know, but when it's something negative, they say black. And this is part of the propaganda campaign that's been going on since they've been printing newspapers and things like that to widespread these negative conversations. And why FBA is so important, because we separating the wheat from the chaff. We're letting it be known that is not us over here. We standing on morals and principles. And it's so important that we control our own narrative. And that's why they hate black media so much. That's why they hate us speaking for ourselves now, because no longer can Roland Martin or Al Sharpton or Benjamin Crump. None of these people can speak for us, because now we have devices, social media, where we can tell our own story in real time. And they hate that. They hate that with a passion, because we're literally changing the narrative. Like I always say, we are literally making history in real time right now. And we're rejecting and rebuking all these negative images that they paint of us, sis. And I'm glad you're taking it back, because it's not white. And I always say this, it's not white people control the world. They control the image that they control the world. They do not control as much as people think they do. And now in real time, we can resist right then and there in that very moment. And that's what makes them scared. And they hire bootlicks to, you know, be the guard dogs and the gatekeeper. So sis, I thank you for bringing that up, because I was going to finish doing what I got to do for this trip and everything. But I said, I got to get in on this, because Condemnation of Blackness is one of my favorite books. Again, by Dr. Khalil Gibran Muhammad, Condemnation of Blackness. You love it.
Excellent book. Excellent book. I'm glad you were able to join us, brother. I can't wait for you to
Sister Keisha, I don't know why I can't hear you. For some reason, I can't hear you. I hear
All right.
Sister Brooke, Brother Black, but I can't hear you for some reason.
Okay. I don't know. But I'm going to play this clip. We're going back to Bensonhurst.
I'm going to come out and come back in.
Okay.
So I can hear you.
Okay. We're going back to Bensonhurst. Okay? Let's get into it. The 1980s. To confirm what I was saying earlier. All right? Here we go.
Mob murders not only mess up sidewalks, they also hurt neighborhood reputations. Bensonhurst in
Oh, we
Brooklyn is
gotta
a
hear it.
perfect example. A lot of very nice people live there who wouldn't think of breaking the law. But the neighborhood takes a bad rap because of the few who do. Frank Grimes reports.
This is what comes to many people's minds when they think of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Organized crime figures being gunned down in the streets. That's what happened to Carmine Variali and Frank Santora last Thursday on Bath Avenue in Bensonhurst. Saturday night, another hit about 20 blocks away. Some other recent mob executions in Bensonhurst were Frank DeChico, blown up in his car last year. 2 more men shot a few months after that. Sal Scarfer's life ended execution style this January. So if you watch the news, you might get the idea that Bensonhurst is a place where mobsters come to get killed. You'd probably think it wouldn't be a very nice place to live. Well, we found some folks who live in Bensonhurst who say baloney to that idea.
Bensonhurst is beautiful. I think it's the safest place you can be in Brooklyn.
Beautiful and safe. That's what comes to mind when you look at some of the homes on 12th Avenue. But most of Bensonhurst's 174,000 residents don't live like this. 3/4 of them live in 1 or 2 family homes like these. A middle-class existence. 65% Italian-American, 30% Jewish. The median yearly income, about $18,000. Working people. You find them working and shopping on Bensonhurst's main streets. Bay Parkway, 18th Avenue, and 86th Street. Pete Menino says it's all those good people who make up for the few bad ones.
Nice people, good, hard-working people, good ethnic groups, nice restaurants.
But there's all this hood stuff is exaggerated.
Oh, yeah. Don't pay no attention to it. I lived here 63 years. Walk the streets, mind your business. That's all.
John, who owns a Chinese restaurant on 86th Street, has been there for only 4 years. But he has a message for folks who might be passing through Bensonhurst sometime.
I see here nice neighborhood. So don't worry about this one, right?
Frank Grimes.
Now, the Italians have been pushed out of Bensonhurst, and now the Asians have control of that area. This is how it happens. Right now in Chinatown, and I can take you there. On Friday night, yeah, they have open air casinos. And the police know not to say a word. The police stand on the perimeter because see, they don't play with the Chinese mafia. The same on Edmonds Avenue. The Russian mob don't play with the police, and the police know better. You see? They coming for your whole family. Here and abroad. I remember, and I think Sister Pat, she's in the chat, she can probably speak to this, but I remember when Andrew Cuomo, Mario Cuomo, the father, when he was campaigning, he went to Italy. And the coach notion told him, don't get off the goddamn plane. Mm-hmm. He made it to the airport. It was out.
I remember that. I remember learning that.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So again, you know, these communities and neighborhoods are not labeled as ghetto or degenerative. You know, but it happens in all these neighborhoods. Some people say, well, it's a small amount. That's a goddamn lie. Chinatown in New York City is riddled with crime. Matter of fact, the Chinese mafia have hired the Africans to sell, what do you call it? Counterfeit goods. on the street.
Knockoffs.
Bootleg.
It ain't the Chinese who outside selling it. They got the Africans out there selling it. The Chinese open air casinos are so bad that a lot of families are pleading with the government to do something because the men in the family are spending up all the goddamn money gambling. This is just a fact. Y'all can Google it and read it for yourself. Or take a trip with me on a Friday night. I'll pull up and show you how they get down over there. Open air casinos. So don't tell me that it's only happened in a small amount. That's a goddamn lie. They're not reporting it because the police are afraid their whole family will be unalive quickly. Quickly. Brother Divine, you ready? Let me get the U.S. Freedmen Project president up on the Brooklyn Bridge. Boy, him and Tad dressed alike tonight. Welcome, welcome, Brother Divine. How are you?
Peace, Brother Divine. It's a Brooklyn thing. So, Brother Divine, let it be known it's a Brooklyn thing.
You heard? You understand me? That's it. Look at Brother Black trying to get in, but it had the Bronx muted. What up? What happened?
Oh, good.
What's going on, Sister Brooke, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, Brother Black, and my big sis, Sister Keish? What's going on?
Same old, bro. I don't know if you were able to hear some of the videos or the conversations that were happening prior to your arrival on the stage.
Oh, most definitely.
What are your thoughts on some of the things that you've heard or watched so far?
So some of it is, is I love the trip down memory lane. Some of it is before my time. But as those of you know, a lot of this is not new information because, like I said, like a lot of you know, I grew up in a specialized schooling system when I was coming up. And so some of the first, like outside of my family and the street dudes that I knew on the block, but outside of that, some of the first actual gangsters that I met were those Asians that were in those schools. And so, in fact, I don't know if I can say that, but it's probably bad. The first, I would say, because you guys did talk about the buybacks, right? But the first brand new firearm I've ever seen was from an Asian that brought it into the school. And I can't remember the name because this is going back to high school. I can't remember the name of the actual gang he was a part of. But that's what really brought it home for me. And also just kind of seeing because coming out of the schools in our hood, they all had the metal detectors, right? So you couldn't get nothing in. So now you come to the specialized high school where it's supposed to be for all these gifted folks, and you got these Asian gangs bringing firearms into the school, right? And so that kind of let me know, even at a young age, the double standard that existed between the different communities, and also just kind of some of the talking points and kind of the myths that were debunked. Because again, and it's not to pat myself on the back, but going into a lot of those Asian homes, like what was being talked about in the videos. And the reason why I was there is because I was tutoring a lot of their Asian kids. And so that was like my first encounter with the idea that there were some Asians that weren't as smart as us, right? Like, because growing up, that's the myth that you get, right? They're all good at math. They're all good at, what we now know as the STEM classes and arenas in that juris, I don't know why I'm having a brain fart, but you know what I'm saying, in the STEM arena, right? But going into their homes, going to tutor my Asian classmates and seeing how they lived and getting a taste of their culture firsthand, a lot of the stuff that's being talked about is not surprising. And then also just growing up, going into Chinatown for various different things, as we were growing up in the city, you got a chance to see like how, especially going through the stop and frisk era, you got a chance to see how they stopped us for things that weren't even crimes, but they were able to be on the corners selling knockoff goods. This is before they started employing all the Africans. It was them on the corners and on the sidewalks, and in those shops selling counterfeit goods in the open. And not once did you ever hear about any major raids where they were coming for Asians that were selling all these knockoff goods and you know, clothing and products and stuff of that nature. So it's kind of what's been done in this country is not only have they squashed our ability to have legal businesses and economic hubs, they've also stomped out the foundation of Black American illegal businesses and economic hubs, whereas every other community gets to have both of them working in tandem, and in most cases also working in tandem with the exact same system that squashes us is working, and where one hand is washing the other.
Facts, brother. You laid it out beautifully. You laid it out beautifully, because also, Brother Divine, I want you to speak to the point of, if you can, speak to the point of immigrants who come into this country, pick out those white supremacist talking points, labeling us as ghetto or degenerative if crime happens amongst us. And also, when brown immigrants come into this country and live amongst us committing crime, how important is this aggregation in that instance?
Oh man, yeah, that I could definitely speak towards that. And so what we found, and this is kind of some of the things that we go when we definitely go into these panels, and also when we go into the reparations hearings, we have to let them understand and know that not only is racial justice not reparations, we have to understand that this country was not built on anti-Black racism, enslavement, discrimination, etc., right? It's not anti-Blackness, you know, because you have some Afro-immigrants that can come over and claim Black. It is anti-foundational Black Americanness. Full stop. That's what the country is built on. And specifically targeting that same group of people from emancipation to present day. And everybody else's reality is built on top of that targeting. And so when you start to understand that, you can see that, again, we all know that there's two Americas, foundational Black American America, and then all the ethnic groups that's classified as white, their America, which is just for short, white America. And every immigrant that comes over understands that my odds of having the better life that I came over here for is to align with white America. And what that does to them, though, is white America is built on lies, shoestrings, duct tape, and bubblegum. And it's really built on the idea that you have to denigrate and distance yourself from foundational Black Americans, because that is really what's bringing the country down and not everything else that's going on around us. And so when you align yourself with white America, you have to align yourself with those talking points, but also with what has become to be known as the quote unquote American way. So the American way is to denigrate the foundation of Black Americans that the country is built on. And so when they come in, they adopt these talking points to ingratiate themselves with whiteness, but to also make sure that they don't get mistaken for us when it's not beneficial. When it is beneficial, they'll cosplay the hell out of us and pick up our culture and, you know, move among us like they're our allies. But then when it's not beneficial, they become honorary white supremacists. And in some cases, even more white supremacists than the white supremacists. Because most, if not all, these other immigrant groups have anti-foundational Black Americanness built into their culture. So when they come in, it's not even like they got to move real far from who they actually are to align with white supremacy. They're already in lockstep. And when we start talking about the Africans, which is, like I said, one of the major flaws of Pan-Africanism, what we found out is that certain African tribes have been the partners of those European enslavers long before we even got into this racial caste system that America is built on. These are just some of their old friends. And so, it's this idea that when you talk about how they position themselves and also how they depend on us being who they say we are. Because it justifies, well, it allows them to justify to themselves the anti-foundation Black Americanists that came with them, right? So when you hate on a group and you know that is unfounded, you start to feel a way. If you have a conscience, if you're not a psychopath, you will start to feel guilty about denigrating a people that you know do not deserve it. But if you can paint that group as common criminals, as the dregs of society, then what would you not do to a group of people that don't bring anything positive to society? Anything goes, if that is truly who they are. But secondly, you need a scapegoat, and I'm landing here. See, because if you can, like the white supremacists do, consistently and constantly point to those foundational Black American criminals, then your criminality gets swept under the rug. And that's what we're seeing, as tragic as it is, that situation with the two teens in that Queens Park and Roy Wilkins Park, that's why we delineate. Because for the longest time, that has been classified and categorized as Black on Black crime. And look at those Black youths. And what are we going to do about Black culture? Because look at what it passes down. Come to find out, the shooter was a Jamaican and the victim was a Haitian. And so now we can start to open up our analysis of these particular crimes that happen, especially when you look at the geopolitics of the day, where you have Jamaica expelling and kicking Haitian immigrants out of their country. Now you have a whole new lens with which to look at this Jamaica versus Haitian crime, gang beefs, and ethnic conflicts that you lose when you just say, oh, that's just Black crime and that's just Black people doing what Black people do. And that's what's been happening for too long, and delineation puts an end to it.
Let me, I'm going to Sister Brooke page because I'm still in ex-jail.
Hold on, before you go there, can I ask him one question?
Oh, go ahead.
Divine, President Divine, when you were in school and that incident happened and that gun was found, handled or brought into the school by the Asian person, did that make the news?
Oh, so no, it wasn't found. He showed it to me.
Oh, so they didn't even find it on him.
Yeah, no. So he got that firearm into the school and out the school without incident, as only an Asian or non-foundation Black American could. See, because we'll get frisked if we got a pen that's too sharp.
You goddamn right.
But they could bring weapons in and out, and because they are the model minority, nobody's even looking for them. In fact, if somebody had said, and obviously this is conjecture, but just based on the historical record, from my opinion, if somebody said, and somebody was alerted and said, hey, somebody has a firearm in the school, they would have detained all the Black, Caribbean, and African students first, and that same Asian probably would have walked out without incident because they wouldn't even look to inspect their bags.
And I went to Barton, Clara Barton, which is a nursing high school with a bunch of girls. And guess what I had to do every day? Had to have my bag searched. I had to walk through metal detectors in a nursing high school. And guess what I got in trouble for bringing into school? My beeper. They called my mother, who purchased said beeper, and had her come to the school. I have no history of violence, no history of fighting, no history of nothing. I got along with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was cool with everybody and all of that. No history of nothing. I got in trouble. They called my mama for my beeper. And you got Asian kids bringing pew-pews to school. Okay, I'm done. I just want to make that clear.
I'm gonna say two things. Things. One is that it's crazy on how we've been vilified to even have a beeper would associate us with doing something criminal. And for two, that Brooke is not as young as she looked. That she was in high school when beepers were out.
Hey, mind your business.
She out of herself on that one. I was just gonna let it fly.
I told y'all I wasn't that young, okay?
We just gonna let that fly. I suppose now. Okay, go ahead.
I couldn't. I was like, hold on. I had a beeper in high school.
Hold up. Let me also point out, when you were talking about the criminalizing of the beeper, I didn't even have the number. My mother was the only person with the number to the goddamn beeper, because she was like, when I beep you, you better call, you better find a phone and call me right away. So it wasn't even like everybody was beeping me. My mother was the only person with the number. So they sitting there criminalizing it. And at that time, my mother was using that as a GPS system. She was trying to track me, make sure I came home on time and did everything else, because, you know, my mother ain't play no games. I had to come right home after school.
Ain't it a far cry from technology that we went from beepers to handheld computers, cell phones, where we got cameras and everything? Like this is amazing. The world is moving so fast, but yet they still holding on to antiquated narratives about who we are. And that's why they're so mad, because we're reclaiming our identity. We're none of this shit that y'all say y'all are. The funniest thing, and I will always repeat this, about quote unquote Jim Crow laws, is that Jim Crow was a fictitious character. But they bought into the narrative so much that they made laws over a fake character depicting black people are supposed to be. You might as well say a goddamn Scooby-Doo law and then apply it to people.
Yep.
But brother,
That's how crazy it is.
I got one, not one above that, but another one, the Willie Lynch letter.
Yep. Ooh,
and so,
that's a good one.
So here's in addition to Jim Crow being fake, they had to fake, and this is where we get that home. We deconstructed this on the bridge before, and we talk about the difference between, you know, the house slave and the field slave, right? Where how that narrative, even somebody like Malcolm X could get that wrong and be wrong. But the Willie Lynch letter, what it does is it perpetuates this idea that I'm against Brooke because of our complexions. Yep. And you know who actually is more colorist than any one of us? Non-Black Americans.
Yep.
You go online and you see the people that are talking about complexion and being discriminated against, and how you know, colorism is ruining the entire community. It's a whole bunch of foreign accounts that try to push that into our neighbor and our communities.
Buying bleaching cream, that whitenacious and all that stuff, because we have people of all arrays in our family. As Adam Clayton Powell said, we got everything from charcoal to chalk.
Charcoal. I love that.
That's right.
We got it all. So we don't play that. I've never subscribed to that. But again, this is why we have to have our own narrative, because people who come in cosplayers also buy into the negative stereotypes and narratives of what it is to be a Black American. And they perpetuate the negative aspects, as opposed to knowing what it really is to be a foundational Black American, the spirit of resistance and decency, upright and morality. That's who we are. But that get drowned out in the negative media campaign.
Right. And it's so crazy because you know, and we talked about, like I said, this when we brought that up the last time, but it's so crazy because, again, just like the Willie Lynch letter, when you look at the people now that are saying, oh yeah, and it's so funny because it's like there's certain things that as a culture, we you know, now we joke about everything, we Jones on each other, but there's certain things that are not jokes, right? That we do not say and we do not go to. So when you hear people and see people, and this is how I know they foreign, like right off the bat, people are like, how you always picking out these foreign accounts? I'm like, because I know what we would say and what we would do, no matter how mad I get with somebody or how funny I'm trying to be. There's certain things we just don't go to. So when somebody says something or see someone's like, oh yeah, you acting like you a house slave, it's like that's not really something we say. You know what I'm saying?
We don't joke about slavery.
Yeah, we don't go.
That's not funny ever.
And so just like when we talk about Pan-Africanism, just like when I talk about Marcus Garvey and Stokely Carmichael and Shirley Chisholm, what we're seeing and what delineation is further exposing is that there are a ton of people that they don't know how to be Black because Black is a creation, is our creation. So what they do is that they try to translate it into the language and culture that they know, and what comes out is what they think they should say if they were trying to be us, because at the end of the day, they can never actually be us.
It's crazy. You know, a few years ago, I was asked by the PTA of Abraham Lincoln High School. Now, if you grew up in the town we grew up in, you know Lincoln was nothing to play with. So I get there, and of course, they got 2 metal detectors, one on each side when you come in. So they asked me to put my bag on the belt. I said, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. And she says, well, this is the rule for everybody who comes into the building. I said, may I speak with your supervisor, please? So when the supervisor came, young man, when he came, he said, what's the problem? I said, well, the officer asked me to put my bag on the belt, but I'm not going to do that. I said I was invited by the PTA president to give a presentation today. So he says, well, okay, let me check. So he do what he have to do, call, and a woman who was the head of the PTA, she said, yeah, she's supposed to be here. So he says, for safety reasons, we're going to need you to put the belt on your back. I said, okay, call her back and let her know that I won't be attending today because I'm not putting my bag there. It's illegal for you to ask me to do that. So he said, no, this is the rule. Maybe the rule is not the law. Now we're sitting in a building named Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was a lawman. He was a lawyer. So I broke down what the problem was legally. Long story short, I went right in the building, no bag on that belt. So when I get in the auditorium, it's packed with students. And they had 5 presenters before me. So I was given 20 minutes. So my 20 minutes was focused on my interaction with school safety. And I broke down the law. Lo and behold, my 20 minutes is up and the students is going crazy. Nah, let her talk some more. Let her talk some more. So the principal comes in to find out what's going on. So I guess the PTA president told the principal what was happening. And he said, look, we got to close the building. So maybe we can have her back again. And the students was going crazy. So I put my hand up. I'm like, calm down, everybody. Calm down. I said, we can go outside and continue this conversation. The whole student body left with me. Like 400 students. So now we walking down the street and I'm continuing the conversation. Cops came everywhere. Everywhere. What's going on? What's going on? I said, nothing is going on, sir. We're just having a conversation. That's all that's happening. And these children are walking me to the subway for my protection. So the cop says, well, who are you? Who are you? I said, who are you? And don't ask me who I am. The students was going crazy, because every interaction that I had was a legal premise, right? Letting the students know what their rights were. You don't have to put your stuff on that bag no more, that belt no more. They are breaking the law. You all are minors. They are breaking the law. So long story short, the head of the PTA called me. She said, you have caused the uproar. You have caused the uproar. I got to have a meeting with the principal. I said, look, I didn't mean no trouble. I was just stating facts. She said, in all of my years of being in PTA, I have never seen a whole entire student body walk out with a presenter in my life to continue a conversation, because they were intrigued, you know what I mean, by what they were hearing. You're at Abraham Lincoln High School. We're going to use that as your premise. And, you know, once people know what they are engaging with, they can react differently. So I wasn't invited back again, but mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. And I'll leave it at that. So, you know, young people want to hear what's real. I had a whole presentation ready to go. But I said, you know what? Let me talk about what just happened here. Because some of the students who were sitting in the front were also there when I didn't put my bag on the belt. And they started talking about it. That's when I said, I got to scrap it. We're going to go with this now. You see? So don't say what our young people don't know, what they don't show. If you kicking BS to them, they're not going to pay you no mind. Period. But I'm going to play this clip of a 15-year-old news clip about a 15-year-old who was a victim of a homicide here in New York City. And the perpetrator was also a teenager. And I'm playing. Play it and we'll go. Hold on.
Of interest in the shooting death of a 15-year-old Jaden Pierre last week in Queens. Officials are searching for Zahir Davis, who they believe is a gang member. Investigators say the shooting at Roy Wilkins Park in St. Albans stemmed from a previous fight between Davis and Pierre, and they believe Davis may have been trying to pistol whip Pierre, but instead the gun went off. Davis is from Jamaica, and detectives believe he may have left the U.S.
New York City, listen up. I keep getting messages that this Mr. Nasty right here unalived himself, right? Everybody keep telling me, I got a lot of messages saying he unalived himself, right? Everybody knows he unalived himself, but the police. Where is the body at already? New York City, listen up. You see Corey Lynn right here? She's the mother of Zahir Davis, the one that unalived the 15-year-old in Queens. This is the mother who got people running around DMing me, telling me that he unalived himself because she knew he was going to make my page. They both, this is a Mrs. Nasty and he's the Mr. Nasty. And the father also is hiding him out too.
Davis is from Jamaica, and detectives believe he may have left the U.S.
New this noon, the Queens District Attorney just announced the second biggest gang takedown in the history of the borough.
Dozens of people are allegedly involved in 3 murders and multiple other shootings. And this is one example of the gang's violent nature. This shooting happened at a McDonald's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Eyewitness News reporter Lindsay Tuckman live in Kew Gardens with more. Lindsay.
David, Sandra, this really is a massive takedown. Besides the fact that you guys just mentioned, it's also the largest indictment of a single gang in Queens County history. And now we do have more of those details about what kind of violence was committed and by who. It was District Attorney Melinda Katz here outside the Queens County Courthouse holding a news conference today detailing the so-called Operation Shadyville takedown of the BADCO gang. There are a total of 32 defendants facing 97 counts, including murder, conspiracy, and weapons possession. 9 of those defendants are adolescents and not being identified. Now, the leader of the gang, Javon Adepoku, is also known as Shady. He's alleged to have armed local teenagers in Southeast Queens, giving them permission to shoot at rivals. One video was shared showing an incident in 2022 where a teenage girl was studying in her home when officials say defendants fired off 23 rounds trying to kill a rival, but shot her in the leg instead. Take a listen. Frightening video there. That young girl, fortunately, she did recover, but the investigation started back in 2021 with violent events, including 13 incidents of gunfire occurring all the way until this past September, all across the borough. Videos showed scenes where investigators say BADCO gang members fired off rounds in broad daylight, sometimes injuring or even killing innocent people. DA Katz says the scale of violence involved is staggering.
This group didn't care whether they were shooting in busy intersections, whether they were shooting by schools, playgrounds, or very near residential homes or apartment buildings. After the shooting, it was common for members of the gang to brag about their exploits on music videos posted on YouTube and other social media platforms.
Now, 23 defendants were apprehended yesterday morning by the NYPD and have been remanded to jail. 6 were already apprehended and incarcerated previously, but 3, according to officials, still do remain at large, and officials are working to apprehend them as soon as possible. Live in Kew Gardens, Lindsay Tuckman, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
So again, where the flags at? Rep your set. Rep your set. You see, now you don't want no separation. Now you don't want to delineate when criminality is involved. And, you know, some folks come over here. A lot of folks come over here for a better life, as I said before. But you don't call this out. You say those are black kids. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. Keep that same energy as if they were getting awards for being the first doctors to do so-and-so. Keep that same energy. So don't get mad about delineation. You've been doing it. You were first. We just catching up. You were first. That's why you have a Caribbean Day Parade, a Dominican Day Parade, Puerto Rican Day Parade, Irish Day Parade, Italian Day Parade, San Gennaro festivals, all this old BS. Keep that same energy. And any politician, let me tell y'all this right now, any politician or pork chop eating pastor come to you about a gun buyback program, tell them first. Them first, then come over here. When people say, where the black fathers are, where the damn daddies at? Because you got 3 kids here and 5 back home. Where their kids at? Where their parents at? The mama ain't home because she a nanny to somebody else. Keep that same energy is all I'm saying. You can't have it both ways. Brother Devon, your thoughts?
Man, that's it right there. Like you said, where the flags at? That's I mean, that right there is the biggest indictment that I think any of us can say. Where are them flags at? Because any other time they out. Any other time they tied around your hand, your wrist, your neck, your head, You got them flying. I don't know all the songs. I know Sister Brooke know them, so she can start making some of the song references.
Shut up. Shut up.
To what they be doing it too. But listen, if the music was playing, them flags would be out. But now that there's a whole bunch of slow singing and flower bringing, nobody want the flags out no more.
They put the flags away.
And just like you said, where the daddy at?
I'm about to send you a video right now.
The daddy helping him get out the country.
That's what he was doing.
Davis went. Hey, Davis back to Jamrock.
That's it. Daddy out there aiding and abetting. We're the ones that got families, that have whole family of criminals, right? We're the ones. And so that's one of the things that I think this, like I said, this is all highlighting is that I think it was Brother Tad, or it might have been you, Sister Keisha, when you talked about they don't really rule the world, they just rule the image of, I forgot how you put it. I want to mess up.
Yeah, Brother Tad said that.
Yeah, I don't want to mess up Brother Tad's words, and he's not here to correct me. So, but in that same spirit, because I understood what he was saying, is that white folks are some of the worst people to ever grace this planet with the best PR you've ever seen. And Foundation Black Americans are some of the best people that have ever graced this planet with the worst PR you've ever seen.
Yep.
And Malcolm X said it best when he said that media, and I'm paraphrasing, that media will have you hating those that are being oppressed and loving those that are doing the oppressing. And unfortunately, what delineation has also uncovered is that there are many immigrant groups from around the world waiting to join in on the side of the oppressor. And we are no longer giving out melanin passes.
Because I want to go back while Sister Brooke pull that up. I want to go back to and also that book that Tad mentioned. I think Brother Black put it in the chat. Let me share it real quick. It's available in audiobook as well. So y'all can check it out. That's the name of the book right there. You can see some prices on Amazon if you want to check it out. But make sure you do it at the right time of day. Because Tad and Brooke be getting me riled up early in the morning. They be starting. But anyway, let me play this clip. And then I'll wait for Sister Brooke to send me what she needs.
I sent it. It's in the chat.
Okay. So they know how to delineate when the trouble is on them. You know how to do it. You know how to do it. Listen to what she said. This is a throwback. Shout out Melrose.
For not killing me like I'm a American, I'm Jamaican. Don't kill me here. Go kill a Black American. Don't kill me here.
No one's gonna get hurt. You're good.
Okay. For not killing me like I'm a American, I'm Jamaican. Don't kill me here. Go kill a Black American.
If that's not white supremacist talking points, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. But again, that whole they don't know, and I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Let me see. That's the video, Brooke?
Yep.
All right, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Where the father was at. Here go the father right here, Zaire Davis. His name is Zaire Davis too. He also got to take accountability for what his son done. Your son unalived somebody. Your son unalived somebody, Mr. Nasty. Jaden Perry, say his name. He got unalived by your son, and you hit him out. These are the disgustings that I keep telling you about. Everybody keep asking, what about the father? What about the father? Here he go right here. He's up here now. He's taking accountability. And y'all need to see his face. His son is not in the country no more. His son is in Jamaica at his grandfather's house. Disgusting. Disgusting. You think he could stay out there forever? All you did for him is bad justice for him. Was bad justice. These are the disgustings that I keep telling you about, and you need to know about them. His mother made the page, you make the page. These are the parents who birthed this disgusting. You're so disgusting. But you up here now, you famous now. And everybody gonna see your face, and everybody gonna know about you as well. Jaden didn't pass away in vain. The family hits me up. They in pain. You still get to see your son at the end of the day. They will never get to see their son again. You can hide them all you want. They're gonna find them soon. They're gonna find them soon. And listen, make sure this go viral. Everybody need to see him. This better go viral right here. And y'all already know the slogan. He gotta go. He gotta get up out of here. Get this nigga up out of here. You think they did good by sending you away? They did bad. They did bad, but you'll be back in New York City again. You're gonna have to face the music. And whoever else was down with you, gonna have to face the music. This is the son. Don't forget, you unalived that boy. Now you gotta pay for it. Man, get this little nigga out of here. New.
So y'all were asking, where's the father? There he go.
You know, I had that queued up too. I had that queued up as well. But you know, because right now, this is how you bring it full circle. Right now, you have Africans who are lockstep, you know, with the president. You know, you lockstep. You allow him to set a bases, take your data, you know, whatever. Because you were too coward to do what needs to be done. So when I hear in some of these live spaces that because Black Americans are delineating and pushing for disaggregation, that we are Trumpsters, you know, that we acting just like the white supremacists. And it goes on all night. Divine and them being them frogs too. Say, no, I'm not lying. You know, but they lockstep.
What is the overall feeling about President Trump on the continent of Africa?
President Trump is surprisingly much beloved in Africa, and people don't realize this. Part of the reason why President Trump is beloved in Africa is because he's got a strong opposition to abortion. People feel like he probably is not pro-LGBT rights. People are very religious in Africa. Many people are religious, either Christian or Muslim. And so they feel that President Trump represents those conservative values that they agree with. Obviously, President Trump has made some decisions that affect Africans moving to the United States. There's a lot of visa restrictions, the aid cuts that affected USAID. In Cameroon, where Pope Leo is right now, maybe 600,000 people might not have food in the next few months because of the aid cuts that affect USAID and foreign aid by the United States. But overall, I think when I go around Africa, people like President Trump. They like that he speaks his mind. And they remember him from The Apprentice.
Oh, interesting.
It was very well syndicated across Africa.
So what is the overall?
Much beloved.
Beloved. But they say, we the Trumpsters. They come back. Man, listen. And while they mamas is pushing these females to marry white teen.
Your husband to do?
No, I want white in the family.
To be honest, if you get a good wife, oh yeah, hey, the way they love them, like I should get a white husband. You have to find the right one. You want my?
But you know, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about these things. They all have amnesia when you get in these live spaces and start talking reckless. That don't fly with me. That don't fly with me because, you know, not only are they talking reckless, but they say we're xenophobic for delineating, but they delineate continuously.
Before you get there.
They chasing the foreigners out. They said, oh, listen, don't come here to South Africa because you taking our jobs. You taking our business opportunities. We can't get decent health care because you keep coming over here and flooding. Fix Nigeria. Fix Ghana. Fix Zimbabwe. Don't come here. But nobody talks about that, though. Where the xenophobic funds? Go ahead, Sister Brooke. You had something to say?
Yeah, because we moving forward, and I forgot to say this back when you played the video that I had with the 15-year-old boy. The reason why I added that last news report was because I wanted people to see who gave the children the pew-pews. Do y'all remember hearing what that name was? His name was like Adipoko or Adieko or something. I don't know. I can't pronounce it. But it was an African last name. He was the leader of the gang here in Queens.
It was Atumpoko.
There you go. See, I was close. Antumade, whatever. Atumpoko. So, as a person who lives out here, I was constantly hearing the rhetoric. What is going on with the Black community? What is happening within the Black community? What is going on with within the Black American community? Something needs to be done. In fact, people were, here's the part that pissed me off, right? People were comparing the media response to the media response of the police dealing with that gentleman in the liquor store. And they were saying, oh, everybody was up in arms about that, but nobody is up in arms about this. Another one of these disingenuous talking parts that I grew up hearing. Okay. Number one, the reason why people are up in arms about what the police did is because they're not serving any consequences. It's on video. They still haven't been fired. It's on video. Now, one thing I will say, because of his background that gives him ties out of the country, he was able to elude consequences, evade consequences. But if he'd have stayed his narrow behind here in Queens, his little black ass would have went to jail. Pronto freaking Saurus. But because he's not a Black American, and he has a network of people that can smuggle him like drugs, instead of in the country, out of the country, he was able to evade prosecution. That is something that does not happen, cannot happen in Black America, foundational Black America. I saw the dude from the MTA. He was, what is going on within our community? I'm going to shoot that question right back to you. What is going on in your community? These are not our children. And let me speak. Let me let you understand where I'm coming from. Okay. Like I don't want to sound like I don't have a heart. I worked in a school. I lost a child, not my child, but my child. As far as he worked, he went to the school that I worked at, and at that time I considered myself having 400 children. And y'all know I have no biological children. I had 4, a matter of fact, have, because they still mine. About 0 of them are American. Okay? 0. And I lost a child. And that hit me to my soul, and it hits me to my soul to this day. They shot him in the back of the head. So I feel for that family, losing a child like that. I feel for the school family. I feel for everybody who knew that little boy. So I'm not speaking like I have no heart and no soul for children. I love everybody's children. But what I cannot let you do is point the finger and the blame at the Black American community and constantly put this on us. We are weighed. You know how much weight is on our soldiers? We are weighed down by enough. We can't carry your shit too. You got to carry your own shit. You got to figure out what's going on. People, you see that we sitting here going into detail about the negative PR campaign that we have had since the 18 freaking hundreds. We could go back to step infection, who was not even a Black American. But he allowed himself to be used as propaganda against us because none of us would do the shit. So he cosplayed back then like one of us to denigrate our image in the media. And I can go on. I sent you a video, Keisha, about someone else that is denigrating our image within the media. It's gotten to the point now where we're ready to not even ready. They're boycott every restaurant that big stupid gorilla is in. The dancing gorilla, or whatever he calls himself now. I sent the link in the chat. Every restaurant that brings him out and has his big, stupid, muscular, stupid, doofy ass dancing around, shucking, jiving, bucking his eyes, and eating chicken. That mother. Every restaurant we need to boycott. This embarrassment. I don't think I've ever hated somebody so much in my goddamn life. If he dropped dead right now, I would celebrate. I would celebrate the day he dies. The way he makes us look in the media, this is why we delineate. Because we need people to understand we not that fucking dumb. We not that big and doofy. We're not going to sit here and let white folks treat us like that and use us. So again, they had a meeting here in Queens about, getting together to find out what is going on. And I celebrate that because that needs to happen. What is going on? But y'all was sitting there pointing the finger at the Black American community. Now that it has come out, where is the talking point? What is going on within the Caribbean community and their children? Where is that? What is going on with your babies? What is happening? Hug them, love them. Figure out what is going on because they're killing each other. This ain't got shit to do with us. Find out what is making them so angry. that they want to kill each other in the park on the first sunny day. On a bright and sunny day. Why are they doing the takeovers in the park? Why are they going around and mashing up the place? I don't know. You understand those terms? Why are they mashing up the glass windows, mashing up the stores, mashing up this, mashing up that? Why is that happening? Because when I was a kid, we went to the mall to talk to boys. Okay? We went to the mall to profile front. You know what I'm saying? Show off our new sneakers. Buy new sneakers. We went to the mall to see what boys was going to be at the mall. And I'm sure the boys went to the mall to see what girls was going to be at the mall. That's what we went to go see, you know, where the cuties at. Where the cuties at. Why y'all kids not trying to figure out where the cuties at? Why are they so angry? That's a question for you and your community. And stop putting our name on everything negative. And I'll land right there.
Can't keep it. You can't make it no more plain. You can't make it no more plain. Brother Black, you wanted to say something before I move on?
I wanted to ask, in light of Brooks' video with the chicken dude, did y'all recently see that Mary J. Blige pushed back on the advertisement she did about 7-8 years ago? And you
see how we attacked her for that?
Mm-hmm.
We let her have it to the point she's still angry at the way we responded to her singing about chicken. We don't play these games. It don't matter, foreign or domestic.
She said she got set up, though, the way she putting it.
We don't care. You should know better. That don't make us look good. You can't be out here singing about chicken, Mary. We don't like that. And how many years is it? How many years has it been? And she's still trying to defend the chicken. Ain't nobody trying to hear her. We wasn't trying to hear her then, and we ain't trying to hear her now.
Facts.
And you see, she ain't did it again. She learned her lesson because we gave her a straightening. We let her know that's unacceptable, Mary. Now we didn't dealt with you being singing off key. We love it. We love it. We actually love your singing off key. We actually love it. We love how you put your soul in everything you do, but you bet not put your soul into singing about chicken. That's when we draw the goddamn line.
Hey, Sister Brooke, I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember this because this is probably in the early 80s. I'm sure Sister Keisha might remember about Luther Vandross used to sing for Kentucky Fried Chicken back in the day before he became.
Didn't show his face.
No, he showed his face was up.
Was that before he
Before he got big.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was already known at that point because he used to be in a band named Change before he went solo. So he was already known, but not as he wasn't Luther Vandross yet. He was just Luther back then.
And there you go.
Okay.
You worked it on out. There you go. You worked it on out.
For real. But to want to cosplay your idea of what we are is crazy. Now I want you to listen to these African boys. And then I'll play a clip from a television show right after. But I want you to hear these young boys in Africa with the American flag on. Okay? Pay attention. Hold on.
What up, little skinny, little NRS motherfucker?
You a motherfucker skinny, what the fuck you trying to, I'm a throw back up a whole motherfucker.
Did you eat today?
Gang.
Did you eat today?
Did you make it in, motherfucker?
Did you eat today?
You didn't get it in today,
all that fake ass money.
You look like my asshole, motherfucker.
Where's your tooth at?
You suck it out, ass nigga.
What type of shit you on? Why you got them flags on, man?
I'm a thug. What you gonna do?
Not.
I'm a thug,
no,
man.
you not.
No,
you not.
I'm a thug.
You got them chains out. You got them chains out the quarter machines.
This is real. You expect hate ass nigga.
They don't sound real.
Broke ass nigga.
They don't sound real.
Broke ass nigga. Broke ass nigga.
Who your
Broke ass
jeweler?
nigga. You don't know it nothing, man. You don't know it nothing, man.
Who your jeweler?
You don't know it nothing, man.
Who is your jeweler?
Aliante.
Who?
Shut the fuck up. Aliante, man. You think we don't know?
With marker script, with black magic marker written on the chest. But you say our kids is the one you need to stay away from. Okay. All right. I want to play this clip. Fair use. I want to play this clip and we'll come right back and we'll discuss. Hold on.
But if I were to marry again, it will only be to a Nigerian man.
Only? That kind of narrows down your options, doesn't it?
Don't listen to her. She has many options. Top of the list, Nigerian man, same tribe. Yoruba. Mm-hmm. Then Nigerian man, different tribe. Igbo. Mm-hmm. Then other Africans. Then Caribbean. Then white. Then African American. Mm-hmm. Then African American. Mm-hmm.
Wait. So a black man is last on your list? Below white men?
You get it.
I get that you full of crap. All you Africans think you better than us. Well, what?
You don't make it easy for yourselves.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, come on. Gangbangers, welfare stamps, the baby mamas.
Woo. That's it. That's
So
it.
So I sent that to Sister Keisha because this was a xenophobic show that made the air on CBS some years back. And what we see here is that we become the punchlines even when, one, it's not funny, but two, when there is data, statistic, and reality that shows you that none of those things are the case. Jamaica and Nigeria leads the world in paternity fraud. But here she was making a joke about quote unquote African Americans, meaning us, about baby mamas. This is the psychosis, like I said, that gets perpetrated in propaganda in the media. And what's interesting is that some years back, our brother Chad, another activist out there in California that's doing some great work in the delineation space, and shout out to them because their delineation bill goes live. It already passed. It goes live in 2027. But that woman that is the one speaking in the clip, if I'm not mistaken, is also one of the producers on the show. Her name is Gina Yasher. I can't remember what. I think she's she's Nigerian, but Nigerian, but
Nigerian from the UK.
From the UK, right? Exactly right. So she's a Nigerian immigrant to the UK, and she's a so-called comedian. You ain't never heard of her because she ain't really that funny, but she was doing a show in California, right? She does white comedy. She was doing a show in California, and our brother Chad pulled up on her in Cali to let her know about this show at the time. To let her know, like, we're not working with that. That doesn't fly, and you can't just pass it off under black, because actually what you're doing is you're delineating on the show, but for negative reasons that you would then act like we're all black the same when it comes to hiding your faults of your people. But I brought that up because she has a clip of herself somewhere online as well that you can find, where in her stand-up act, she talks about how when she gets pulled over by the cops, she puts on her UK accent.
Yep.
Because she understands how that, what that does in the psyche and the mind of those officers, right? That will allow her to seem less threatening and more likely to get off because she is foreign. But that flies in the face of we're all black the same, because if a police officer pulls me over and pulls you over, you think they're going to ask where I'm from? But what we do know is that in all the instances where distinctions and differences can be made, the outcomes are indeed different. And so that tired talking point of, oh, white supremacy sees us all the same, it's always been a lie, but now we see in real time through a lot of their actions and their own admissions that it's always been a lie. And they're starting to acknowledge it even when they don't know that they're acknowledging it.
Also, I believe, what's his name? Trevor Noah and Godfrey said the exact same things.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, don't come to me with the BS. And speaking of Godfrey, you know, all of these content creators who are not of the lineage, the majority of them continuously talk about us because they have no content without it. No content at all. But never mind. I want to play this clip and I want y'all perspectives on it because it's not just the brown folks, it's the white folks too. Here we go.
So you deceived anyone?
You know I'm ready.
No, I don't. I mean, I think, don't we all have the right to be exactly who we are?
When did you identify yourself as being Black? When did you identify yourself? Was it a year? Was it when you were little? When did you say, I'm Rachel? Because we've all seen the pictures. Mm-hmm. You were born white, a beautiful little white girl, Shirley Temple type, and then all of a sudden you became Black Rachel. When did that happen?
Well, I have always seen myself as Black since I was really young. Mm-hmm. And I have been identified by others as biracial probably around 1998. And then since about 2006, I have self-identified as Black.
Got it. Now, this is my other question. Because you're in my house, okay? So let's get real, all right? Let's just get real. Let's stop all this. We're just trying to figure this out so that people
understand
where you're coming from. Because there were some people that felt that you never identified yourself as white. So like when you went to Howard University, some people felt like they never knew you were white, you were Black. And so they felt like maybe the scholarship or when you got admitted to Howard, that took an opportunity from a Black woman. So that's why a lot of people, it's like you can identify because you're beautiful, but we're trying to understand why in some instances you never told people that you were white.
Yeah.
I mean, are you ashamed of being white?
Well, like Dick Gregory says, white isn't a race, it's a state of mind.
Okay, but let me tell you something. I'm Black. I can't be you. I can't reverse myself. Let me tell you, Rachel, if the police got me, you could throw that off and show that little nice fine hair up under, and you might get away. I may not even make it in the jail.
Well,
so it's a difference.
Okay,
it's a big difference.
Well, Rachel, following that, I have a question.
Right.
What does being Black mean to you, and why? Why do you want to be Black?
Well, I think that sometimes how we feel is more powerful than how we're born.
Okay.
And Blackness can be defined as philosophical, cultural, biological, a lot of different things, a lot of different people. And I think you do have to kind of walk the walk if that's who you are.
Okay.
So
you feel that you walk the walk of a Black woman?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So go ahead, get your line.
No, I just want to say, could you expand on that?
Well, I mean, I think, walking the walk in terms of philosophical and cultural, like what I was talking about as far as the broader definition, the Pan-African definition of Black.
The what definition? Flat Blackness, okay?
Blackness. I think you're talking about then changing it to a Black woman. Is there a singular experience? Is there one experience?
Absolutely. There are opportunities that I might not get that you can have only because of the color of my skin, not because I'm a smart, beautiful, amazing mother, wife, and entrepreneur. even as successful as I am now, there are lots of doors that I can't walk into that you can definitely walk into. So I just really want to know, like, have you ever experienced anything like that?
The police mark black on my traffic tickets.
Wait, they what? They what? No, I want to hear that because I'm interested.
You know, you get the B, the W, or the U. You know, the W is for white, the U is for unidentifiable, the B is for black. So it's all based on the police. When they pull you over, they don't say, "Are you black? Are you white?" You know, they identify you.
Now, okay, you have compared your journey to Caitlyn Jenner's journey. So, you know, you said there's similarities and there are differences, and you said that you felt like people treat Caitlyn, you know, they're accepting to her, but they're not accepting to you. Why do you think that?
Well, I certainly applaud Caitlyn for discovering herself. And I think, you know, again, you know, what does it mean to be a little different from your spouse or your children and yet no less than 100% mother, 100% wife? You know, are we all entitled to be exactly who we are?
My question, do you yourself feel like
y'all hear all of this BS?
Bullshit.
This is psychotic. Now people want to be transracial. But again, she wants to identify as a Black American woman, not a Jamaican woman, not a Trinidadian woman, not a Mexican woman, you know, Puerto Rican, none of that. None of that. But again, she said the Pan-African definition of Blackness. I want y'all to touch on that if you can. Anybody can say it.
Yeah, let me jump in real quick. When she said the police pulled me over, that's because you have on dark makeup, ma. You're sitting there with all that makeup on to darken your skin or self-tanner, whichever one. I don't know. You know, you white girls. You sitting there with all that stuff on darkening your skin because we all know how pale you really are. That's not your real complexion. So that's why they're marking things. Or even when, and I said this when Keisha sent this originally. Remember when Eddie Murphy back in the day on Saturday Night Live put on the white makeup? Remember in Coming to America when he put on the white makeup and played the Jewish guy in the barbershop and the old black man in the barbershop? There are people who were around that studio at that time who did not know that was Eddie Murphy, much less that he was Black. So when you put on all that self-tanner and then the dark makeup to boot, of course they're confused as to what you are. They're just as confused as you. And if you ever got into real trouble, we all know what you would say. I'm not a white boy no more. I'm Black. I'm white like you guys. I don't know if you guys you remember that clip where the white T-boy was being questioned by the police because he was a gang member. Or the gang members had accepted him as one of their own. But he was pulled into the police station 48 hours style. And they got him on tape saying, I'm not a gangster. I'm a white boy like you. So we all know at the end of the day, if you got into real trouble, what you would do to get out of it. You'd go get a tissue. You wipe all that makeup off. You take off that wig or them extensions out. And you be like, oh, I'm not a Black woman no more. I'm a white woman. We all know this. And this is why what President Devine calls the religion of Pan-Africanism is so dangerous. I've said this before when it came to gentrification, and it seems that it is true even for racial identification. See, we accept the Afro-Caribbeans and the Africans because you guys have the same skin complexion as us. And then you allow, because let's not forget how she became fake Black. She was allowed to be fake Black at these HBCUs where they are. The president of Howard University is a Trinidadian. They allowed her to do that. And who else went to Howard? Who likes to walk around with a black scent? Didn't Kamala go to Howard? We got 2 non-Black women who were allowed to cosplay as Black women through the religion of Pan-Africanism. And this is why we have to delineate, because at first we were cool with y'all being with us, but we not cool with you letting everybody else in. And this is like the movie Sinners. You guys are taking on the role of the Asian lady in the movie Sinners. They all, and this is I think a lot of people miss this part in the movie Sinners. You know, the obvious part about don't let the white folks in, you know, that's obvious. The underlying message of Sinners was when you let that other group in, because when they let the Asian lady in because she did what? She made the sign. She helped supply the food that they bought, because she didn't do it for free. She sure didn't do it for free, did she? She was given a position of authority, of economic power, because she was allowed to have her store in the Black community. So they were friendly with her because of the position that the white folks put her in. And because she was in that position, they allowed her to come to the party. You could come to the party. They allowed her in. But the second she thought that her family, her child, and her husband was in jeopardy, she said, fuck all of you guys. Let them in. They're trying to take time and formulate a plan and figure out how they're going to do it so that they all did not die while trying to figure out what was going on. She cared not about their safety. She cared not an iota about anybody else in that room. Let them in. And this is why we have to close ranks. We can't let everybody in the barbecue because y'all letting other people through the back door in the barbecue. And it got to stop. Now we got to close the doors to everybody. And if you're part of the lineage and you're playing games, we're not gonna let your ass in either. If you're out here scamming, lying, cheating our brothers and sisters, we're going to leave you outside with them. And that was evident in the movie as well. Because remember, their homeboy got bit. And they had to leave him outside. It was too late. He was already bitten. You got to stay outside. You can't come in the juke joint, bro. We love you. You've been my boy for years, but you bitten already. You can't come in the juke joint. And he was out, but the Asian lady was in, and she was the one who let everybody in. And I just want everybody to pay attention to that. And this is why we are delineating. Because we have an airtight typed legal status as freedmen that nobody, I said nobody, not Rachel, because Rachel Dolezal could claim to be Black, but she can't claim to be foundational Black American. She can't do that. Her family's not listed on that 1870 census because, unlike what people have led other people to believe, you don't need to be verified. All you need to do is to be able to trace your lineage to the 1870 census. That is, the 1870 census is your verification. That is the only verification that you need. And Rachel Dolezal can run around here with her self tanner and her yaki in her hair, but you can't find her lineage on the 1870 census. Not as Black.
Y'all know she changed her name, right?
I don't give a fuck.
Her name is Bekeisha now.
I don't give a fuck. You can't find her on the 1870 census. That's what I care about.
Stop laughing, Keisha.
So, so this is why we are delineating. Nobody can sneak in the juke joint. And even if we wanted to let you in, we can't. Because you ain't on the 1870 census. Not as Black. So now any well-meaning or non-well-meaning foundational Black American that wants to let you in still can't do it. Can't nobody let you in this club. Because your invitation is your lineage on the 1870 census. And if you ain't got one of those, you're going to be outside the club looking in. And I'll land there.
She's going to be with Michael Richards out there.
You keep doing it, Black.
Mm-hmm.
You keep doing it. But
before you play that video, though, I just want to add this to what she said. Obviously, I'm in total agreement with that. But out of everything that she said, Rachel didn't tell no lies when she said by what standard she's considered Black. I don't want us to lose sight on that. Rachel did not lie. By the definition of Pan-Africanism, she is Black. Because that's the same definition they use to make Caribbeans Black. That's the same definition they use to make Africans Black. And so what we're seeing here is the evolution of that definition and how far it can go left unchecked. And that's what they're really mad about, about the delineation. That's what Pan-Africans are really mad at. See, because when you let somebody else get a hold of your identity and define it for you, it gets to become whatever they say it is. But when it's as loose as they make it, it can become anything that somebody else says that it is. That's what we saw with Rachel. But you know who else follows that same line of logic? And it holds on why they get along? The foundational Black American Boule. Because they're the ones that stamped her Pan-African definition of being Black. They gave her the positions of authority in the Boule NAACP. They vouched for her, quote unquote, Blackness. And see, what you find is
same thing with Kamala.
That's right. And I'm getting there because the Boule definition of blackness and the Pan-Africanist definition of blackness is to be as far away from actual blackness that you can be, while being as close enough that you gotta be to pick up just enough to pass. And you hear the disdain that Pan-Africans have and the disdain that the Boule have, and that's why they sound so similar when they start to talk, and you let them talk themselves into the position that you need them to be in. And here's what else that I found out. That both of them sound the same because both of them have the same white paymaster. And that white paymaster is left-wing white supremacy. See, because when you look at Pan-Africanism, as I started talking to more of these Pan-Africans on TikTok and elsewhere, what you find is that Pan-Africanism ain't nothing but faux, revolutionary, pro-immigrationists.
That's right.
That's what all roads lead to. Forcing foundational Black Americans to be okay with erasure through mass immigration. The Pan-Africans just say, oh, it's okay for them to come over because they got melanin. And the Boule say, it's okay for them to come over because they're going to come and represent the best of us. And that's how you get a Kamala Harris. Because according to the Boule, Kamala Harris is everything they want Black to be. She's not really Black. She can present as Black. She went to Howard, was in a sorority, and here is the trump card that every Boule needs you to have to be Boule Black. She has no connection or loyalty to actual Black Americans. If you can pull that off, you are exactly what they need Black to be. To have the empty symbolism and the approval of their white paymasters to keep the con game going. Throws all of that in the trash because you got the quote unquote, you got the peasant class of Black Americans defining who Black Americans are. You got foundational Black Americans telling you what foundational Black American excellence is. And you got foundational Black Americans saying, you know what? There is a foundational Black American phenotype, but coming close to it is no longer enough. Because like Sister Brooke said, in order for you to be a real foundational Black American, you're going to need that phenotype. You're going to need that paperwork.
We checking paperwork.
Because when we do that lineage check and your paperwork come up dirty, it don't matter how much you look like us. You are null and void. And that's what they're really mad about. Because when you can fully define something, accurately define something, and put the gate up, now all the imposters got to go elsewhere. And for them, in order for them to keep their checks, there's nowhere else for them to go. Because they're getting paid to undermine us. And so once you can no longer undermine us, your ass is out the door and the gravy train for you stops. And that's why they're so mad. That's why they working so hard. That's why they got to try to four-wall us. Because if you can't denigrate it, if you can't discredit it, your credit is below low. Your credit ain't worth a damn. And that's what we're cutting up everybody's fake Black cards. Because when you really Black, you don't need the card. You are the card.
Hey, Brother Divine, real quick.
You cooking with hot fish grease. Hot fish grease. Go ahead, Black.
I just want to make a point real quick that the Boule are honorary Greeks. And the second point I was gonna make, I forgot. Y'all just go ahead. I'll remember and I'll say it later on.
That's right.
Brother Divine mentioned how if we don't do it, we allow others to tell us who we are, what our culture is, and how we should operate within that culture. Two things he gonna say. He said, I'm playing two clips to back that up. Hold on, here we go.
Look at golf.
Button. Shall we begin? Shall we begin?
Come on, let's keep it 100. You know the vibes, man. Another nigga that keep it 100, you heard? Real gangster niggas. That's this complexion. Y'all niggas act like y'all the only niggas out here doing gangster. Niggas been doing gangster like this, paved the way for niggas like me, and the rest of these niggas like Trust Moolah and other niggas like that. So we out here keeping it 100. Niggas ain't outside, bro.
You know what's going on.
And let's make it clear. Y'all want to call them German. Y'all want to call them racist. Rich player. Fat Joe's right here, man. I'm from Haiti. I'm 100% Haitian. I'm a Zoe. Guess what? I'm black. Ain't no racism here.
So all y'all niggas saying ain't no CS niggas that's black. This nigga 100% black. What y'all talking about?
I'm the man next to the man. I'm the man next to the man. Humble as kept. And guess what? I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm not Dominican. I love my Latin people. I'm from Haiti. I'm a straight Zoe. I am black. Ain't no blacker than me. I'm black. I know how to explain it.
That's how you keep it 100, nigga.
Stay outside. And you out there, man, don't be anybody you not. Be yourself. We give the time so you ain't got to do it, you heard? You know what's going on.
Follow man, follow God, bro.
Bro, love and respect for everybody out here. This ain't about we ain't talking about nobody. We're just keeping it 100.
Like button.
Crazy. But again, there are no spaces talking about this stuff. There is no spaces discussing how disrespectful this is. He said the N-word more than I heard all month. Oh yeah, like this is crazy. This is crazy. Talking like you just came from up top. Knock it off. You just hit the town. Knock it off. Knock it off. That pissed me off to no end today. I don't know who sent me that, but it had me riled up today. Now let's go back to the master.
Hold on before you move on from that video.
Go ahead.
You know, we can't just let that go. I can't just let that go.
I was gonna let it tie together, but go ahead.
Pause. Like, I'm sorry. When I was talking about earlier about how we saw a camaraderie initially with the Caribbeans and the Africans, and then they allow other people in, which ushers in gentrification, which ushers in this transracialism that's happening between Rachel Dolezal and Kamala Harris. It also ushers in the N-word pass. Because let's not forget, we had someone here in New York where everybody wanted to make us eat that. Everybody wanted to make us eat the fact that Tekashi 6ix9ine with his Caucasian behind, Caucasian Latino behind, was allowed to say the N-word. Who gave him the pass? His whole crew was Jamaican. And the same thing here with Fat Joe. This is a problem. all across America right now, foundational Black Americans are putting our foot down when it comes to Mexicans, when it comes to Puerto Ricans, when it comes to anybody that's not Black in particular. That's not Afro saying the N-word. But he's sitting there as a Zoe saying that he is giving them the pass to say it. And this is the problems that we're having. And this is why we have to close ranks. This is why we have to shut the doors. This is why we can't allow everybody in the barbecue. Now I seen this video where it was an older man. Unc said, I'm whooping ass. I hear somebody, he got to come out of whooping ass retirement because he's so tired of hearing young people of other races using the N-word. And you want to give people a pass when that word is not even a part of your history. And this is the problem that we're having. You don't have the right to give anybody a pass. As a matter of fact, we get to the point where we're revoking your pass. I'm done.
Melrose is right. He say he's not qualified to give no passes.
Exactly.
You ain't qualified.
You're not letting him go around calling himself a Zoe. You're not letting Fat Joe go around calling himself a Zoe. Why are you not letting him call himself a Zoe? See, that you would have the authority to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not doing that. Y'all close ranks on that word. Not everybody's a Zoe.
Hey, Sister Keisha, I remember the point that I wanted to bring up because Sister Brooke reminded me of it. Let me ask y'all a question. How do y'all? When did people know that Jesse Jackson was a full-blood Cherokee, and how do you compromise that distinction of him naming y'all African Americans on Arsenio's couch back in the days?
We want to fuck him up too. Didn't you hear what I said when he died? That take that turn with him to the grave, right to hell, and may his ancestors deal with him for his fucking lies.
Yeah. No, but the point I want
That's
to ask,
how we deal with it.
because I found that I hear your point, but I found that out when he passed away. And did y'all know this beforehand, or did you just find it out when he passed away as well?
We knew. I would say for me, within the past 5-10 years of his passing, I knew. I'm sure Sister Keisha probably knew way before that.
Right. So I think that's what I was going to say as well. I think we all kind of knew or learned about it at various stages of it, because that wasn't something that he was outwardly
He never said it. Yeah.
He never openly identified as a part of the Cherokee Nation. And you got to understand that back in that day in the 90s, if you were somebody in the know, like Sister Keisha, I'm real curious to hear what her answer is. Some of the people that were in those circles, they probably knew. But remember, now you come, when we come into the information age, and we can look up anything on anybody. That's kind of when most of us knew. But regardless of all that, as we see looking back, obviously in present day, we know that African American is a misnomer. But when we look back into the past, there were many of our people that pushed back on that term even then. It's just that they didn't have the platforms like the Bridge that we have now, where we can get our message out, where we could go to the people and we can let them know something's wrong with it. But in any way that people was being filmed, because there's probably plenty of conversations that were never filmed that was having the same pushback. But there's a number of conversations that were filmed where people were saying, no, why would I identify as African? This doesn't even make any sense. You know, and on top of that, what we also know historically, again, in the information age, is that our people have never identified with that term African in mass. Even when there were still actual Africans walking amongst us that were a part of our ethnogenesis. So it's like the bottom line is that's never been a term that the majority of our people have embraced and identified as, no matter what any Pan-African tells you, because that's the lie that they run around with. We've always known we were African, and look at this. What you have is kind of what I just laid out. So I'm glad you asked this question because it's bringing it back home, is that what you find, again, with nothing happening in the vacuum, is that the Pan-Africans and the Boule got together to create and push this term African American with their white, left-wing white supremacist paymasters. And though there was pushback, they pushed it through. And that's how we became African American from the late 80s until those same left-wing white supremacist paymasters in 1997 said, hey, now it's time to redefine it. So now that it includes all those people the Pan-Africans are fighting for and all the people that we want to bring into the country on top of them. And so for me, in my personal assessment of history, as I'm learning it, you know, learning at the feet of Keisha and Brother Chad and you all on the bridge as well, and just doing my own independent research, what I'm seeing is that this was just another long con in the long line of long cons to disenfranchise our people group, our ethnic group specifically, because you don't, you know, you need a term that has some ambiguity to it if you know you're going to do what you do in 1997, coming off of, and I was watching a documentary that Sister Brooke put me onto about the funk. When you watch that documentary, you get a chance to see, like, you know, that was before my time, right? And so those of you guys that were around during that time, not just through the funk, but that era was so super black without it being Afrocentric. Like that, I'm looking at that era, I'm like, wow, like how powerful that era, how powerful it, obviously it was still of, you know, free love and, you know, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on with groups mixing, you know, at the time, but what was black was black. It wasn't African. It wasn't foreign. It was rooted in our culture, in our ethnic group. And so coming off of that, they knew they needed something, and that's what they brought into this again, what is the hallmark of, especially of the foundational Black American Boule, that respectability politics, coming off of, like Sister Keisha pointed out, like we talked about on another episode of The Bridge, that crack era of the 80s, which in my opinion was put into place and orchestrated to take us away from that super black era of the 70s. And so you come through the 80s of the crack era, and then in the 90s, late 80s to the 90s, you got, well, we need something else to identify with, because look at what has happened to black. Asking and saying, look at what they did to black.
That's a very interesting point, big bro. Let me just add another caveat to everything you just said. That was the reason, part of the reason for the Vietnam War too, because at that time you got to remember the hippie movement and the Black Power movement at the same time with the Panthers and all that. And then they molded it together, sent some of the white boys to war, and a lot of us disproportionately, but not in numbers. You know what I'm saying? And then before you know it, the ones that came back were either shell-shocked or drug addicts or half a body and all that other stuff. So great point you just made. Sister Keisha, you can get it back now.
Oh, I just want to put one more thing in. My mother never accepted the term African American. Never. My whole growing up, she kept telling me, we're not African. She's like, why do you keep saying this? Where are you getting this? We are not African, we're Americans. And I would just be like, oh ma. Because at this point, you know, we are being socialized through school and everything else to call ourselves African Americans. So there was this, and that group is still alive. My mama is still here. And y'all better not speak nothing negative on my mama, I'll beat your ass. Okay. My mother is still here. So we're not talking about old people or people who are no longer with us. Her generation did not agree with that shit. They was not with it. So, you know, there was, that's a testament to the pushback that President Divine was talking about. And Sister Keisha, now I'm ready to hear what you got to say. I know it's about to go off.
Well, back when I first read the book Shakedown, I started to investigate of where he was born, because when you heard of Jesse, all you know is his connection to Chicago. But I wanted to know more. And so there was no wording, I should say, from him, or I believe it was his mother or grandmother. An interview took place back in the late 50s or early 60s, back when they used to put the metal mic around your neck. Okay. And I'm not sure if it was his grandmother or mother, but she talked about her Cherokee heritage in that interview and how she was so proud of him back then. Right. So very interesting. I think you can find it on YouTube, because that's where I found it a long time ago. But here's the thing. My mother also wasn't with that. And neither was my grandmother. Now, I'm going to say some things that may rub some people the wrong way, but hear me out. Okay, hear me out. When it comes to the Pan-African ideology, because of the denigration of our image in media, because you see, it didn't start with Reagan. It didn't start during the Clinton years. It started in the Nixon years, right? I believe I played a video of the Asian gang, and they talk about how they brought in heroin in the 1970s. And so a lot of our family members got hooked on heroin back then. So the image was already destroyed from, think about it, from the heroin epidemic straight to crack. I remember seeing videos and newsreels of people dying on the street with needles stuck in their arm, pus running out of their arm, blood running out, Black shaking his head, you know what I'm talking about. So the image was so bad. Then you had some scholars who began to teach the greatness of Africa. And I'll start with Dr. Ben. Don't beat me up. But his lineage is not of here. He is Puerto Rican and Ethiopian. So it fits, right? It fits. Dr. Clark was a college professor as well. There were some things that were taking place up at City College that were very, very unsavory to Black professors. Dr. Jeffries, a lot of them who were teaching, very, very unsavory. And so out of that collective of Black scholars, or some African and Caribbean, right? Professor Scobie and all of them, right? They developed the ideal of Afrocentrism, right? Along with that teaching, you had hip hop, who were also pushing Afrocentricity, right? I think last week Tad mentioned on OG Wisdom, the Jungle Brothers, right? Tribe Called Quest, X-Clan, Bigaboo Planet, they was heavy.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Right? Queen Latifah, all of this was heavy. Heavy rotation. So I want you to think about this because there was no YouTube streaming, none of that. Brooke said she had a beaver. We ain't had these personalized computers we walk around with now, right? So again, all of the, Zulu Nation, all of that. So again, you have to say to yourself, if the scholarship is teaching Afrocentricity and the music is teaching Afrocentricity, and the only imagery that you see of Black people in America is needles in people's arms, kids in the street playing with crack vials. This was the image. They would play damn, what's the name of that game? With the crack vials that they found. Right? I actually got a video. Hold on. I got a video. Hold on. Y'all know I'm quick with it. Woo! I want y'all to see this.
All crack bottles.
What do you have there in your other hand?
Looks like a needle top. That shit picked up. Them dangerous. I know, right?
In the last decade, South Jamaica has lost more than 50% of its jobs, and nearly 25% of teenagers over 16 are neither in school nor working. Statistics from other cities across the country tell the same story we heard on the basketball court.
Is it hard to find jobs right here in the neighborhood?
Right here in the neighborhood.
Not in this neighborhood. Not in this neighborhood.
There are no jobs.
You may be able to find a job.
Unless you want to work in the soul food.
But they want to pay you like $175 a week, but they want to slave you 12 hours a day. It's not even minimum wage.
And when Gene Robbins comes home from MIT, he finds his two worlds growing even further apart.
MIT.
College graduate of MIT. Okay? Keep all this in mind. This was on heavy rotation. They had after school specials playing this shit at 3 o'clock when you got home.
Yeah, you know, take a chance until you're taking a chance with your life. Every day, somebody might just come up to you and say the wrong thing to somebody. They might pull out a gun and shoot you.
What's the last time you saw a gun around here?
Gun? Yesterday?
Just one. I don't know. Nah, I'm saying, but they ain't got to be all these. My little sister look out the window and see a dead body across the street from my house.
Like every day we come out, it's a big question. We gonna live through the day or what? Or not?
Shoot somebody randomly and it not mean a thing. I mean, it doesn't even phase the mind. It's just like you shouldn't have messed with it. So.
Shortly after we taped this scene, one of these boys was shot and wounded in the stomach and arm. The shooting was reportedly drug-related.
Go play ball, right?
Yeah, word.
Gene Robbins used to play in this very park with Todd Scott, but even an old schoolmate grows cautious when asked to talk about the accused murderer now.
As long as you mind your business, usually you're okay. But the minute you cross that boundary and you're cutting into somebody else's profits, that's when the violence starts.
If the folks around here knew about a drug-related crime, would they report it to the police?
That wouldn't be wise.
Why?
Because if you found out, your whole family might suffer as well as you. And you want to take that chance?
Do you know of that actually happening?
Yes.
What happened?
Huh?
How did it happen?
I'd rather not talk about that.
What do you got there?
Now notice who was interviewing him. You see, it was a bombardment. You had, when you walked into school, you had the crack kills and all that kind of stuff signs, the dare signs all over the place, right? So it was a heavy bombardment that was going on. So when you hear something that can give you a little bit of life and a little bit of pushback, you gravitate towards it. Now, before that cracker, don't go back. Before the cracker, the image of Black people, before the heroin epidemic, let me correct that. The image of Black people was we were the best. I'm gonna go back. Let me take y'all back. Check
truth of the matter is that the Negro lives pretty much the same as other folks. He buys pretty much the same way, too. But just the same, a lot of old doubts and opinions keep cropping up over and over again.
I don't like to do business with Negroes. They're drifters. You can't keep track of them.
Yes, although a lot of people think that way, the truth is that 1 out of every 3 Negro families living in cities today owns its own home. That figure comes
1 in 3. 1 in 3 own their own homes.
directly from the United States Bureau of Census.
Maybe so, but Negroes are poor credit risks.
Not more of a credit risk than any other group. Actually, the Negro homebuyer meets his payments faithfully, often more faithfully than other race groups in the same economic level. That's
You heard what he said?
Mm-hmm.
You see what he said? Hold that. We almost done.
the information we got from people who ought to know, the National Association of Real Estate Boards.
Well, maybe, but I've always heard that Negroes buy shoddy, poor quality merchandise.
No, it's just the other way around. According to leading researchers, in proportion to population and income, Negroes buy more quality products than any other comparable United States group. You see, there are a lot of confused notions about the Negro customer. But when you dig right down and find out about them, they just don't hold water. Negroes own homes. They meet their payments faithfully. They buy good brands of merchandise. So why let a lot of old-fashioned ideas hurt profits? Take a look at the real facts. Here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, some amazing facts and figures about this new market have been...
And so right after that, you have an influx of immigrants who were poor, looking for opportunity. As you heard in that piece, we were doing quite well for ourselves, right? And so how do you change the narrative to make white folks feel better about themselves? In that piece, 1 minute, 45 seconds, the narrator referred to us as the Negro. Not once did he say African.
Oh, good point.
Not once. And so the next group that comes in, you have the immigrants, you have the image of Black people on the downtrodden, to make white folks feel better about themselves. There's a book, and it's called White Trash. You should read it if you have the time. Check it out. Their elite made them feel bad about themselves, right? So here you have a group of people coming out of enslavement in the first 30 years, outperforming white folks in this country miles ahead.
Miles.
In performance, in wealth, home buyership, and inventions. So how do we stop it? Let's bring some Asian folks to bring their hair on in. All these Black men who had to stand on the front lines in Vietnam, okay, coming back to a country that called them the N-word, like the Puerto Rican and the Haitian and everybody else use, right? The bombardment is coming, right? So you're reaching for something. And in comes Asa Hilliard, in comes Dr. Leonard Jeffries, in comes Dr. Clark, in comes Dr. Chancellor Williams, in comes Dr. Ben. Even if you listen to all the lectures that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing gives, she doesn't refer to us as Africans. She said,
Never.
Black people. Black people. So how do you make a people who come overseas, come in here with nothing, feel good about themselves to live amongst a group of people who are excelling everybody else? Right? You have to look at the whole picture. That's how you research the whole picture, not part of it. Because part of it will leave you blind and dumb. So again, this bombardment that happened was problematic. You had the image when police was allegedly looking for dealers that they were robbing, kicking in doors, kids slammed to the ground, snatched out of the home, put in child services. But now fentanyl is on the rise, meth is on the rise, and it's a disease. There are no commercials of police kicking in their doors, body slamming their kids to the ground, and putting them in children's services. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. The narrative is different. Same crime, different narrative. I'll land there while I look for another video. Y'all give me your 2 cents of what you think.
Oh, you know I want to jump in real quick. Big time. So my grandmother lived in East New York when I was a kid. East New York was flooded with drugs, as opposed to East Flatbush, or the area of East Flatbush where I was. I remember there being crack vials in her garden. She'd be out there trying to, grow flowers, and there's crack in her garden. Empty crack vials, full crack vials sometimes, as I know somebody mad about that. And then I also went to private school, and I went to a private Christian school in East New York. So that'll tell you right now, it wasn't like I was on the Upper West Side, okay? In East New York. And also when I was a kid, it wasn't even a playground yet, but they were like constructing it to be a playground. Crack vials in the what we call the playground. I remember going to my grandmother's house one time, and this is just to give you a reminder of what the image was. This is just me riding in the car with my parents. We went to my grandmother's house early in the morning. There was a pregnant crackhead on the corner on my way to East New York, like right over there. I can't remember what street that is, with the overpass. I can't remember what street that is right now off the top of my head, but my grandmother lived on Hegeman.
Broadway Junction?
No. My grandmother lived on Hegeman in the heart of East New York, not over there. In East New York. And past New Lots. So my grandmother lived on Hegeman Avenue. And we're driving down Hegeman, and there was a pregnant crackhead on the corner that morning. And when we left our house that night, that pregnant crackhead was still there. These are the images we were growing up with. And so that's how they made it so ripe for us for other people to come in and try to give us a different identity. Right? I sent you a clip of this documentary. It's called Drugs Used as Weapons Against Us. People need to see how the very same musicians that President Divine was talking about from the 70s, how a lot of these musicians were dosed. It wasn't, and we're not just talking about the musicians from the 70s. We're talking to musicians from the 60s. We're talking about musicians from the 50s. We're talking about musicians from the 40s. When she's talking about the heroin, a lot of these people were dosed by the white folks that they were around, white folks in the music business. And this is how they ushered in. They ushered it in through the talented 10th. And even if they weren't a part of the talented 10th, through our talented crowd that was in the public eye, our entertainers. They got them hooked on drugs, and that just trickled down to the rest of the community. Billie Holiday was dosed. You know, all of these people, and we could go right on down to, well, close to present day, where DMX talked about how he was dosed. We could talk, that documentary goes into detail about whatchamacallit's mom, Tupac Shakur's mom. How do you go from running a clinic with your husband that gets people off drugs using acupuncture to then being the mama in Dear Mama? How do you go from being a crackhead? How do you go from that to being a crackhead? Because they sent her a drug dealer that was already working with the CIA. After her husband, they wrongly convicted her husband, and she was broke with nothing, and she fought her case and won. They sent her a drug dealer that was already working with the CIA, and then now all of a sudden she's hooked on drugs. How do you think that happened? You think she decided to take those drugs herself? Even when you watch shows like The Godfather of Harlem, Bumpy Johnson's daughter got herself off drugs. Now, we don't know how she got on, but she had gotten off with the nation. And what did they do to her? The CIA, this is just in the show, the CIA kidnapped her and dosed her again. So a lot of, I question, because like I said, due to documentaries like that, Paul Robeson, that's another one. They were doing things to purposely terminate our community. And at that time, that white man who wrote that book, who ended up being unalived, and they said he did it to himself, but there's no way that you could do that way how he had died to himself. No way you could do that to yourself. Remember, at that time, we didn't know what they were saying about the government sending these drugs to our communities. We didn't know that at the time. In hindsight, after that book was written, we know how the government was flooding our community with drugs. We didn't know that at the time. People were calling us super predators. Remember, Joe Biden was up there talking about if a crackhead rapes my mom and robs my sister, I want him to go to jail for life. And turn around and his son is a crackhead. Not just a drug addict, because he wasn't popping pills. That's what I find so ironic. He wasn't popping pills. His son was a whole crackhead smoking crack with a crack pipe and all, looking in the carpet for crack rocks. After he did what he did to our communities. So I just wanted to, help give a little bit of context to that, about them. The jazz musicians, how many jazz musicians that got locked up, you know what I'm saying, that got hooked on drugs and stuff like that? And OD'd. A lot of these people, it's the people in the music industry that were trying to steal their publishing, steal the rights, steal their money, make them do what they wanted to do. Even when you look at Jimi Hendrix, he said he played music better when he was clean. That's in that documentary. but they want to make sure that he stayed on something. And so, because you're worth, just like how they sitting there flooding these little young, the young men, I'm gonna call them young men, with pew-pews so that they can pew-pew each other, and then they get all the rights to the music, they get all of this, they get all the publishing, they get all of that, they get all the rights. They was doing the same thing back then. They was just doing it with drugs. Okay, I'll land.
All that's in my book, Sister Brooke. You need to get it. Real talk.
What's the title?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Boom, bye, bye. Hip hop will never die. If you want to get at me after the show.
Okay.
And before you play this video, I just want to say real quick, and I'm gonna be real quick. It's gonna be one sentence. Is notice how it covered Black Americans that testified against criminals versus how they covered Asians that testified against criminals.
Very good point. Very good point.
Crazy. So again, keep in mind with Pan-Africanism and teaching that we don't know who we are, that we have to go back and remember, right? That too played a part in it, right? But the Africans don't know who they are. You know, we had stories of grandma, grandpa, great-grandparents telling us the stories of back home. You see, I know why my mother's grandmother came to New York from Georgia. I know why. I know the story that her son spat on a white tee who hit him. And they came to her house in the middle of the night. So she fled Georgia, came to New York to save her son, grandmother's brother. You see? Sit with them elders in your family. Get that info. You say when an elder leaves a family, so does the library. A wealth of knowledge. But anyway, they don't know who they are either. But that was never discussed.
We lie a lot as if we know where we're from. Most of us can't tell you 2 generations past where we are from. And I've had the privilege of traveling in Africa a lot as well. And my identity is ubiquitous, right? Nobody could tell where I'm from by looking at me. When I'm in Nigeria, they think I'm Igbo. I could go to Ghana, they think I'm Ghanaian. The average Gambian may look at me and look at us and say, you don't look Gambian. I'm just African. So, and part of the book is there's a chapter I talk about life as a hyphen where I'm African. I think I'm from the western part of Africa. That's what I identify the strongest with, is my identity as an African. But I have a Gambian cultural background and heritage. Africans.
But that part wasn't discussed. Right? Only we don't know who we are. Right? And you have to remember,
today,
a lot of these professors were fired or not given tenureship at these colleges that they taught. And so when it came to the community, everybody chipped in to give them something when it came. You see? This is, listen, I'm telling the truth. I'm not telling no lies here. So, one of the things that disturbed me later on is why I stepped away. Actually, I was pushed away, but it was a blessing. Because prior to that, I kept feeling something's not right here. And I don't know how long I could do this. The other part of that they don't tell you is how A lot of them moved unsavory, cheated on their spouses, outside children, scamming, you know, spouses who aren't of the lineage. So again, to make it seem as if we are all one, but we didn't operate as all one. You see? When certain folks got in trouble, they pulled back. Yeah. True story. Somebody that I know from UAM slave theater days wanted to bring their white girlfriend up in there. That's what's happening. But they wanted to. You see? So they dipped out. Some people, like Sharpton and others, said that you need the white folks in the mix. What are these things done? Maddox wouldn't have it. They dipped out. This is what it is. So I hope that gives y'all a little bit of understanding of why Pan-Africanism was so heavy back then, because of the situations at hand. That's why. And it gave a safe space to those who were coming from abroad, right? It gave them a comfort, if you will, because the war on drugs was a war on Black people.
That's right.
And so a lot of casualties got caught up in that. Amadou Diallo, you know, Abner Louima. Now, some of their community came out, but they wasn't heavy. They wasn't heavy. We was heavy. You see? So that protection was there. But even in that, they separated themselves from us. I want you to go back and listen to the press conferences of some of the African, even the dignitaries who came from abroad to New York. They're all on YouTube. Take your time and find it. Listen to those interviews. See what they say. So a lot of things problematic for me. I'm speaking for me. And I know my brother Tad had to dip out, but I speak for him too. So we had to make some changes. You know, folks was doing some unsavory stuff. And they like to leave that as if it didn't happen. Don't talk about that part. Why not? Why not? That illusion that Africa was a utopia of greatness waiting for us.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody ever said why everybody fleeing. Why everybody dipping out? Even today, dipping out. There's a video of Italy, and they are ticked off with the Africans all around the place. Oh, I'm telling you, I know I'm quick with it. Check this out.
Look at the fucking state of the city. This is Rome, guys.
Like the Casbah.
This looks like in Bangladesh or something. Look at this, guys. Look at the state of this place. Look at this, guys. This is Rome. This is Europe. Does this look like Europe to you? I don't see a single Italian here, guys. I am more Italian than any of these people. Look at this.
Occhio amico mio, perché noi qua non siamo ben visti, quindi stiamo sempre attenti, occhi aperti.
Sì.
È una strada molto pericolosa dove spacciano e vendono roba falsa.
So again, he's talking about he's more Italian than those people there. Where was that energy when the Italians fled here? Keep that same energy.
That's right.
Keep that same energy. So we're going to get ready to dip up out of here. Send them emails. Send them emails. Send them emails. They're working.
Yes.
You know. And let me say this again because I got some comments. I'm going to say this for the last time on this program. Every person from the Caribbean, South America, Africa is not a tether. Tethers is an action. If you act stupid and you disrespect the lineage, you're a tether. And so is your mother. And I'll tell your mama she that. Like Yvette Clark. We fought for those positions in Congress. It was UAM who started the Stop the Yaski campaign so that she can get that seat. But everything she advocates for is for the Caribbean. You wide-faced guppy. So I'm going to keep calling her names because she's disrespectful. She had a whole panel with 200 people talking about TPS status. Where's the panel? And Hakeem Jeffries was there too. With his funny looking self. How you do the hand movement, Unc be having me cracking up with his fake hand movements. You look stupid. By the way, his twin brother also lectures. You can look it up on YouTube, Hassan Jeffries. But anyway, I hope you will learn something today. I hope it gave you a better understanding of how we came to this place and a better understanding of why delineation must happen and why disaggregation must be the law. So, Marcia is going. Brother Black, your final thoughts?
Once again, another great show, Sister Keisha. Thank you for sharing it with me. Brother Divine, Sister Brooke, and for the two who left already. We'll see you again next week, hopefully. As I don't want to, take away from what the shows are about lately. Keep on going, keep on fighting. FBA all the way. Reparations on deck. Those kind of messages, those platitudes. I love what y'all doing, and I'm like I said, in any way I can help, I will. I'm going to pass the mic on to the next week. See y'all on the bridge, same time, same bat channel. Peace and love to all those watching, all those who watch in the future, and to the panel. One love.
Sister Brooke, your final thoughts and commentary.
You're on mute.
Yes, I just wanted to add to what Sister Keisha was talking about, people being a tether. See, let's see. Black is not a tether. Black is here to, you know what I'm saying? He says it every week. Reparations for us. He knows it's for us. He stands by us on whatever we're trying to do. He's not sitting here trying to, you know what I'm saying, lie about the history. Insert himself into the history. None of those things. So when people are saying disingenuous things as we're calling everybody tethers, that's because you're a hit dog. And you may not understand what that means. So let me explain, because that's Black American culture. Okay. We have a saying in our culture that hit dogs will holler. Meaning, I just threw the rock. I didn't aim it at you. But if you felt what I said, that's because deep in your heart, you know that's who you are. And that's why you're hollering. And so I have friends that are from everywhere. I told you I worked at a school with about 400 kids. I don't think not near one of them was American. And there's not one single parent that could come and tell you that I treated their child anything other than my own. President Divine and I have been out on doing lineage U.S. Freedmen Project business in East New York, and students came up to me, open arms. How you doing? Oh my God, you look exactly the same. You know,
I was there. I saw it.
Right. That's right, Keisha. You was there. My babies are all grown up now. They all adults now. And my babies come up to me all the time. And they know I love them. They know it. They felt it. And to this day, they know I still love them. I got kids that still call me on my personal phone for advice because they know I love them. So I'm not here to hate on people who are not foundational Black Americans. No, not about that. I guess, like I said, and I've said this numerous times, there are people that are closer to the me than some of my own family members. But that's not going to stop me from fighting for what my people need, deserve, and are owed. If somebody owed you money, come on now, would you stop getting your money? No, you would not. And neither will I. It doesn't mean I love you any less because I'm trying to get my money, what's owed to me. And you should get what's owed to you. But it ain't owed from this government. Because if you take a look at the aid, we probably done already paid you. As we've talked about on numerous occasions from the U.S. aid that be flooding out the country, and we haven't got not near a penny of aid. When we were sitting here talking about the fraud and everything, all these other groups, ethnic groups, are allowed to commit frauds, not ours. Let us lie on a food stamp application and see if they don't come at us and make us pay that money back or lock us up. Much less run a whole ring where we got a store and we really accepting people financial SNAP benefits for cash. We could really be spending that money on food, but let us lie about 1 red cent on that application and see if they won't come back for us. There are different rules for us. And we are that, you know why there are different rules for us? Because we are a different people. And I'm going to fight for my people. Because as I have seen, nobody else is going to do it. When I got up there and I did what I did at that nail shop, I did it because I felt like nobody else was going to do it. And my soul couldn't rest until that shrine to whooping a Black woman's ass was closed. That's something I felt inside me. But clearly nobody else felt like that. And that's why I'm in the fight as heavy as I am right now. And I'm going to continue to be. And those that I love that are not of the lineage, I will continue to love you, and you know that. And those of you who are taking on the actions of tethers, who, when we explain to you how we feel about even certain situations like our dead, When we explain to you the cultural norms within our community and how we want our dead to be treated, and you sit there and tell me that, and you sit there and look at me 5 seconds after I say that and tell me that there's no right way or there's no wrong way, I have a problem with that. And I will always have a problem with that. You respect me, I'll respect you. And I'll land there.
Well, I'll remind you to send them emails.
Thank you, Sister Brooke.
Send them emails.
You're welcome, Brother Black. You crazy as hell from the Bronx, but you ain't no tether.
No. But here's the thing. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. Love on yourself just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Because when you love on yourself a little bit more, you can see that everything that we're saying is right. And it will cause you to act. So, Brother Divine, your final thoughts and commentary.
For the record, I want to make sure we understand what these two sisters already iterated. A tether is a foreigner, specifically an Afro-immigrant, because they can cosplay as us, that undermines the Black American collective for personal gain. A coon is a foundational Black American that undermines the foundational Black American collective for personal gain. What I will implore you, if you are all up in your feelings about the word tether, I want you to ask yourself, as we have words for both foreign and domestic sellouts, I need you to ask yourself, why is there no term in your language and culture for your sellouts that undermine us and or undermine you? And that will tell you why you really have a problem with the word tether. Because you guys think undermining is a good business decision, and we don't. So check yourself there first before you come and check us about regulating our culture and the gates that keep it safe. I also want to use that as a segue to talk about what's going on in South Africa currently. I have been seeing some of the videos make their way across the internet. But I've also seen something else that I must point out here. And of course, if you know me, is going to strike at the heart of the religion and cult of Pan-Africanism. Because the quote-unquote diaspora and their Pan-African sleeper cells have been calling foundational Black Americans anything and everything but the children of God that we are, for peacefully delineating. We are xenophobic. We are anti-Black somehow, even though none of y'all identify as Black before y'all came into contact with us. We are tools of the white T-man if you're on TikTok, and tools of white men everywhere else. Just talking about the language. But you have Pan-Africans and actual Africans calling what South Africa is doing as ignorant and foolish. And just something that they shouldn't be doing. And how come Africa isn't for all Africans? And there should be no borders, even though all of you identify and acknowledge and enforce those said borders of your own countries. But I'm pointing out the hypocrisy of their hypocrisy. They will call us anything but a child of God because we are saying that we deserve and have earned ethnic autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And they will falsely label that as diaspora wars. But you will have actual wars within the diaspora where people are losing their very lives based on being a different tribe. And that's not diaspora wars. This goes to show you that the religion of Pan-Africanism not only is hypocritical on its face, but to talk about another foundational Black American icon that Pan-Africanists almost never quote, I'm going to bring up the great Dr. Neely Fuller, who has said on the record that white supremacy takes both sides of the argument. And it is my assessment, with the way that Pan-Africanism is practiced, is that the left hand of white supremacy ushered in all of the things that we detailed, including the crack era, to take our eye off the prize, so to speak, in our cultural vernacular. And then the right hand of white supremacy introduced Pan-Africanism to be the new identity that we run from Blackness to embrace. Because what better solution for white supremacy than to destroy Blackness and usher you to identity that also destroys Blackness, while telling you you're really African.
Sounds like the Hegelian dialectic to me, my brother.
There it is. And so this is what delineation puts a stop to, and why they are fighting us so fervently, why it looks like it's us versus everybody. Understand what we are on the verge of doing. We are on the verge of nullifying both hands of white supremacy that have always in the past been able to hit us with the okie doke, the rope-a-dope, if you will, by allowing us and making us believe that the other option is better than the previous, where it gave us a false equivalent of there's a good decision and there's a bad decision, where with the system of white supremacy, there's always a bad decision and a worse decision. And foundational Black Americans are stepping up outside of that duality, that false dichotomy that they've presented, and saying, you know what? I think we just going to choose ourselves from here on out, not to cause harm to anybody, not to physically attack or take the life of anybody like what's going on in South Africa, but just to say, we going to hold our own. And since y'all so great, I think y'all should just hold your own. And let's see where the chips fall. But they're screaming bloody murder because they know that trying to stand up for themselves is as good as being dead, because they've never had to fight for themselves. I heard a future icon of foundational Black Americans say that just so used to leaning on us that you don't know how to fight for yourself. And to answer my sister Farnessa in the chat again, with nothing happening in a political vacuum, she brought up the NAACP and how they left the C for colored. Again, when you understand the history of that movement and how it colonized the Niagara movement, that was a lineage-based movement at the time. They weren't fighting for civil rights. The Niagara movement was fighting for Negro rights. And the NAACP came in and said, hold on now, we got to fight for colored people. That was intentional. And that leads me to my last thought, which is more on brand with exactly what we talked about. Because that's the power of us and the power for everybody else to control and harness us for their power. See, the reason why the name of the show, FBA are not ghetto, and how media labels Black America while hiding everyone else, is because the foundational Black American identity has always been the baseline. We have always been able to be who we are without ever having to be contrasted or compared to any other outside group. But when you look at every other group in this country, their identity is based off of a direct comparison or contrast to foundational Black Americans. That's why pro-foundational Black American is not anti-anybody else, because it's just pro-us. But pro-everybody else is damn near always anti-foundational Black American, because they can't be themselves unless we're less than ourselves. And that's why everybody else gets hidden. That's why everybody else's gets covered up. I told y'all about the blanket of blackness, right? Blanket blackness. A whole lot of good things can go up under those blankets. We ain't gonna get explicit like Sister Pat did on that other show. But bad things can happen up under that blanket too. And the reason why they mad at us getting rid of blanket blackness, because they can no longer F us up under them blankets. If you ain't making love to the foundational Black Americans, you ain't even allowed in the room no more. You can't come up in that under that blanket trying to F the S out of us. We ain't doing that no more. See, I did hear a songwriter say that spread love because it's the Brooklyn way. But from here on out, from this day forward, I am declaring that the new saying is spread love, it's the FBA way. And if you ain't trying to spread no love, then you can't come this FBA's way. You got to go your own way. Because we're tired of the one ways that we've been dealing with from far too many of you. So you go your way and I'll go mine, and we're going to continue to spread love the FBA way. And on that, I'll land.
Hey, I'm going to change your initials from Brother Divine to Bomb Dropper in a minute. You keep it up. BD.
President Bomb Dropper. Thank you very much.
My bad.
I tell you, boy, don't play with the team. Don't play with the team. Brother Divine was cooking up a fresh batch of whiteys, and the grease was on fire. Gotta love it. So again, I'm gonna close out with these two clips, about a minute long. Y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Put your salutations in the chat so that it's highlighted on the way out. Shout out to DW on the check-in.
DW.
What's good? What's good? What's good? If you know, you know. But we about to get up out of here. We about to get up here. Respect to the lineage, and a reminder for all you Democratic shills out there. We'll be in the second video.
Black Americans are waking up to who we really are inside of this country, and I absolutely love it. But one thing with our awakening is that we've been ruffling a lot of feathers in the so-called diaspora. And it's exposing how many of these different groups really feel about Black Americans. It's crazy. You can be from Nigeria, live inside of the United States, but be proud Nigerian. You can be from Ghana or other parts of Africa and be proud of your country. You can be from Haiti or Jamaican and still be proud of those things, even though you live here. But once we flex on how we're proud to be an American, it's all of a sudden an issue. now that we've been uncovering all of these different benefits that were specifically made for Black Americans that many of your groups have been eating off of for years in the name of all of us being Black, now it's an issue. Now you guys started wanting to be Black once Trump started bringing up that 14th Amendment. Now everybody Black wants ISIS out there in them streets. I love that we're separating ourselves. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news, but every time a crime happens and that skin is dark, they have been naming countries now. Well, nationalities and ethnicities. Previous to that, or a year ago, even 2 years ago, they would just say that person is Black. And those crime numbers are now attributed to just being Black, but now they're separating it. And we're starting to see the levels of crime or the statistics on crime drop amongst Black Americans. Black Americans are waking up to who we really are inside of this country, and I absolutely love it. But one thing with our awakening is that we've been ruffling a lot of feathers in the so-called diaspora.
Already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shot. If Haiti just quietly sunk into the Caribbean or rose up 300 feet, it wouldn't matter a whole lot. Is it because Blacks are involved in Haiti?
He's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't Black. The one place where people think you're stupid. Oh, really? I'm a hell of a lot smarter than most of you.
Administration, because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
Look, he's a Hitler lover. I guess he's an anti-Semite. He doesn't like the Blacks. He doesn't like the gays. It's just incredible that anybody could embrace this guy.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president.
We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more.
We already have a nigger mayor.
With that said, see y'all Black again up on the Brooklyn Bridge. We are the receipt champs over here. Good night, y'all. We are.
On the Brooklyn Bridge tonight, voices strong, knowledge tight, thorough Black talk in the air, changing minds, changing flair. From Brother Tad to Sister K, warriors got things to say. Sister Marcy brings the heat, Brother Blacksmith keeps the beat. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Thursday nights the world will see Black Power media on a spree. Facebook, YouTube all aligned, breaking free from every bind. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves, they fly underneath the open sky. Every word's a call to fight. Tune in, feel the ancestral light. Social talk and politics, every voice breaks through the matrix. Commentary raw and true, for the many, not the few. Revolutionary waves.